All right. Well, that made things exciting. Okay. Hello everybody. Welcome in. Is it silent? It shouldn't be. Hopefully not now. Okay, yeah, I was going to be doing, is this working? Okay, yeah, I was going to be working on this, but the moment I brought this up, I'm pretty sure my whole stream almost crashed. So, we might not be working. I might not be working on this. This might be an off-stream thing, which is too bad, because whatever I did made it really angry. Because, like, my whole system froze. Anyway, how's everybody? How is everybody? Okay, sorry, I now live with the constant paranoia that my internet's always going to die. Are you good, Ghostly? All is good? Okay. Let's see here. Let me bring the music down just a little bit more. There we go. Hello, everybody. Sorry about that. Like right as we're about to begin, my whole computer freeze. What is what? That's me working on the lookbook. That's the lookbook for. Actually, let me save this really quick. Just in case this does actually crash. Hi. Welcome back. Ghostly, I'm sorry you're still sick. That's a big bummer. Yeah, Ghostly, are you the reason why my computer's about to crash? Good lord. Good lord. No, I was trying to crop this picture of Gizmo, and apparently, like, the moment I tried to do anything, it just spazzed out and the whole damn system crashed. Alright, I mean, it seems like it's working now. I guess as long as I'm not doing any, like, major matte issues, maybe it'll work. That's kind of what I'm trying to do, but if not, I can work on other stuff. Yeah, no, this is me. So the lookbook is supposed to show, like, all the sequences of the film and, like, ideas for design and all that stuff. So this is for Nubino, which is the Muppet creature that's in my Cyberpunk script. And I have a friend of a friend who used to do toy design for Disney. I can't. It was either through Mattel or Hasbro. I can't remember, but they did toy design, and they offered to help design the Nubino characters that then my production designer and I can tear apart and create the sort of cyberpunky version of for the script. So, are we? Oh yeah, Ghostly. We can still read today. Yeah. This is just for the sprint that we do that probably won't be reading, unless we're doubling up. Because I usually do about two sprints for reading, so that usually gets us through a couple of chapters. I feel like gives a good vibe for all the things. But wait, where are we? Incredible! Oh my God, those cursed beings that you gave are exactly, yeah. So I need. So the idea is that obviously, Baby Godzilla, if we can add fur to it. It needs to have a Muppet mouth, so it can't be like a Furby mouth. It needs to be a little bit more Muppety, kind of like the way they were able to do with Gizmo. So it'll need to be like a Godzilla-esque mouth versus whatever. I don't even know what kind of toy this is. Yeah. So, and it needs articulable hands, and because otters have adorable, weird little hands, I wanted it to have because it needs to be able to like claw and scratch and. At one point, hold a knife to start shivving people. Oh, okay. You already sent me. Okay, gotcha. Everything ghostly. In fear, my interwebs would fail. Yeah, that's my internet. Totally, my internet crapped out last night. I just figured it was due to probably a fire that was caused. What the fuck, Ghostly? What the fuck did you just send me? All right, I saw part of this. I definitely saw part of this. Whatever the fuck this other thing is. All right, hold on. Let me get this open really quick. Let me get the reading bit open. Have you changed? I'm assuming you're updating Ghostly, because I was like, I'm pretty sure I still have the other one. Okay, let's see if I can. I told you more that happened, Muppet. You were warned. This is what happens with. Yeah, I was like, Ghostly went crazy on from being sick. What the fuck? All right, I do appreciate the shy haludness of this. Keep your deserts clean. Protect your local worm emperor. That one's pretty great. I do love that. Support your local capitalist overlord. The typesetting is fantastic, Ghostly. Buy Tortcoin. That's great. That's great. The hipster vibes of this are fantastic. I do love it. I do. These are great. These are great. These all need to be like big sponsored banner ads. Yes, I edited things before. Oh, okay. Oh, gotcha. For the story. Okay. I highly doubt it was trash, but that works. Okay. Oh my god. Yeah, the worm emperor. You had to use the bear beanie too. It's so great. That's fucking great, Ghostly. Shit, yeah, just drop it in like the memes or in the art channel. The main reason is because it's hard for me to I still have to figure out how to switch. When I open these things, it'll crash OBS sometimes. Here, let me see if I can. If I add a thing, it'll get angry. Let's see. Here, let's see if I can. Because people do need to see it. It's it's absurd. There in the oh, thank you, Ghostly. Yeah, great. Okay. All right, hold on. Let me switch. First off, let me switch PDF. It is art, Ghostly. It is damn good, damn fine art, damn good capitalist propaganda art. So, as your capitalist overlord, I thoroughly appreciate it. We need PDF. What are we doing? Where are you, Jessup? I think this is the correct one. There we go. There we go. Okay. All right. Oh my god, it's gonna be a thing. It's gonna be a thing today. Okay, here, let me. Yeah, the new font for Capitalist Overlord is awesome. Let me see if I can Let me see. I have to be very careful doing this, or our stream will absolutely just crash because OBS gets really mad. Wait. Oh, okay. Here, let me. Maybe I can switch out any type to do this. One sec. 1 second. This is what happens. This is what happens. Oh god. Actually, you know what? We don't need Scrivener up right now because I'm not working on anything here. No. Oh my god. Oh my god. Nothing works. Wait, hold on. Oh god, wait. See, this is why. If you want me to bring things up, it takes me like 50 minutes to figure out technology. Okay, let's see. The new capitalist overlord is awesome. Yeah, the font is fantastic. Capitalist overlord typesetting is fantastic. I still can't believe you drew all of that with the line tool. It's the background like line designs. I'm a big fan of that. Do you have any idea how hard human proportions are? You nailed it. Yeah. Well, do you know how hard worm proportions are? Because I feel like Ghostly nailed worm proportions. to make the perfect God Emperor of Dune. So, I didn't like it before. My wife called. Don't read yet, please. Go talk to your wife, Ghostly. Go speak with your wife. Oh boy. How are you, Cryptid? How was? Sounds like your 4th of July was great. Hopefully, it looked the weather, at least it looked like it was very bright and green. So, Ghostly with a fever is a force to be reckoned with. Yeah, no joke. No joke at all. All right, let's see here. Yeah, every time I try to bring it up, it like crashes. I also don't know what is being linked to my Scrivener right now on OBS, but it is not letting it go. And so, oh, there. Okay, so it is delinked. Okay. Well, I can't delete it. Close window. Let's try that. There we go. Okay. Maybe that'll help. Good lord. Okay. It was nice, exhausting, and the weather held. The weather held without being too hot. That's really good. Yeah, because I know, I was kind of hoping that the weather, everything would chill post heat wave. So glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. I don't want to clean my house this much again for at least a month. So you did a major house cleaning? Yeah, I'm still in the middle of that right now. Still in the middle. I was going to try to do like a pretty big deep clean over the 4th of July weekend, but I'm already running out of time. So it might end up going into next weekend. Not 4th plans though, just nesting partner's family visiting for her favorite gay cousin. Oh, nice! That's great! Yay! I had to. There were straights! Of course, naturally. Anytime the straights are there. That's funny. Hey, oh, Nell, how you doing, Nell? Welcome in. Welcome. It's good to see ya. How you doing? How you holding up? Hopefully things are going relatively well for you. How have you been, Gooba? Extend break. Okay, we'll extend break on the back end. We'll have to be a little careful with that though, because I do have a hard out tonight. But we will extend a break after the first reading session. There we go. But we still got like 10 more minutes. How have you been? It's been all right. I mean, China was great. I thoroughly loved Shanghai. Always a big fan of going to Shanghai, so I like that. That was a lot of fun. But other than that, it's just been like work, a lot of that shit. The Cryptid pulling out AD energy right there. Yep, hard out at 8. My heart out's at like 6:30. Let's see here. It was supposed to be just the cousins, but the olds wanted to come as well. Yeah, because they hadn't seen the house. Oh, well, that's cool. I hope they enjoyed getting to see the house finally, though. Which is the curse of ownership. People want to appear just to see the domicile. They do. That is like a drawing card. Yeah, it's for sure. Yeah. PA Megaphone. Hard out at 8. Yeah, it's sometimes you got to. I would love to say June was great, but it was chaotic. July will hopefully. Yeah, I get that. I feel that now. June was a crazy month. Shanghai. Yeah, Shanghai. But yeah. China was fun. I always enjoy when I get to go to China. I'm glad they brought me back. It's always nice when like you do work for a company and they bring you back onto the same show for the next year. So that felt good. But other than that, yeah, July's been kind of a mess. It's been a messy. It's been a little bit of a stressful month. The stress levels, I'm not gonna lie, have been a little high, particularly at the end of June, beginning of July. So it definitely remains the future. The future is uncertain. These are uncertain times. That's lovely, Twilight. I'm so glad you got to have a nice work trip for a change. Yes, yeah. You deserve nice work. That is, I do. It's nice. That job is nice. It's not the worst. It's not the worst gig. It's not the worst show. And I like being in Shanghai. So I get to drink all my tea, lots and lots of tea. Food is good. And I have a couple. Although my friend who lived in Shanghai, I got to go get lunch with him, but he's no longer in Shanghai. He actually he's doing his PhD in Copenhagen, so he actually went to Denmark. So now he's like, you should come to Denmark, and I was like, man, I would be living in Denmark if I could right now, man. Copenhagen is like #1 on my cities I wish I could live in. Several very big things happened, but I also got my new entry-level qualification. Oh, fuck, yes, Nell. That's huge. Entry-level qualification, hell, yes. Congrats on that, Nell. That's huge. And hopefully I'm going to start learning first aid soonish. Well, congratulations. That's a big deal. I'm glad that's, hey, man. Hey, take any and all wins that you can get, because it's a rough world out there right now, everybody. Things are rough. So I am very, very, definitely pat yourself on the back for even the smallest victory, because it's fucking hard. Yeah, that's huge. I hear you, Wildlight, nothing is certain. I've just come to accept this. That is true. Yep. Welcome back, Ghostly. I'm sorry, wife bought me another wife ring, and it just got a wife ring. Do you just have a ton of... I'm imagining Ghostly just has wife bling everywhere, just from Ghostly's weird wife harem that she's got going on. Carmilla also said that's our top place to go is Denmark. That's her top. If we must leave, we should go there. Man, I have like no background or even like remotely could pull off being a nurse, but I would go to, there's a part of me that would almost go to nursing school, because they need nurses. They need nurses over in Denmark. So it's really easy to, if you're going to immigrate to Denmark, working in healthcare they will take you. They will fast track you into the country. So because I have, aside from being, I guess, what do they call it? It's college educated. So they put you in a class if you're of like immigration, if you're college educated. But I would probably be more of a pariah on the system as being like, I'm an artist. But anyway, yes, that's my number one. I lived there for a month. I loved it there. It was incredible. I adore it. They support the arts big time over there. Big fan of it. And one cannot open their wife ring without their wife on the phone. I mean, Ghostly, that to do that would be offensive. To do that would be offensive to the thought behind the wife ring. There's a lot more, but if you can't, I tell you about it once in DM. Is not overwhelmed at once. My little brother is a nurse in a care home. Really? He told me it's tough but rewarding. Well, that's the thing. Is like I just don't have I would not be a good nurse. I can assure you of that. It would literally be a cynical ploy to try to immigrate to Denmark. But yeah, I mean, like, obviously, yeah, don't spam chat or anything now, but yeah, you can also update in the rant sections in the Discord too, if you want to share. But no, but we are going to dive into Reed here soon, because I do have a heart out. No, me and my wife bought each other rings for Christmas last year. And mine recently broke. Oh, and like the doll she is, she bought me a new one. I freaking love my wife, man. I'm so lucky. Ghostly, you are lucky. I think you found one of the best wives. Yeah, event board is similar, but yeah, I mean, like, yeah, there's event board on Discord, but you can share like top lines. I mean, your big victories are huge, obviously. Yeah, share that shit for sure. Big wins. We're all big wins here. So, but yeah, I do want to make sure that we have an adequate amount of time to read, because we're gonna read 2 chapters out of Ghostly's thing, or at least try to do 2 chapters. We're gonna try to do 2 chapters out of Ghostly's story, and then I'll probably work on the lookbook a little bit. But I also might have to fast track. Trying to novelize all my screenplays. That might be a thing I'm gonna have to do real fast. And by real fast, I mean like pivot all my work to doing that. So that could be interesting. We'll see how that goes. because things are happening. So how fast, Twilight? Pretty fast. Probably by the end of the year, at least having like the main ones, but not like. So technically, if it's a novel, this is very like a lot more thought behind the business bullshit of the film world and the world like that thing, but technically as a novel you technically have more quote unquote rights over your IP, it as an IP, as an independent property, than you would as just a screenplay. So if you go say I take my script and somebody either wants to buy it off me, or the rules around who owns your IP, when it's just a screenplay, even if you make it, even if you get hired to go direct it, you don't own it. The studio does. The studio owns the IP. It exists as the studio because it exists as a. You can't really, you can have an IP as in you wrote the script, but you don't own the idea anymore. You sell the idea to the studio, and then the studio makes it. But if you write it as a novel, you can obviously sell the rights to do it, but you own it as IP, as the original idea. You own that idea, so it technically like protects you a little bit more. It also galvanizes the studio. The studio is more interested in doing that because it's an already pre-existing IP, particularly for things that are higher concept. It's really weird, but I was having a couple conversations with a couple writer friends of mine who have actually thought about trying to novelize their stuff to literally protect their IP. Like that's a thing that they're talking about. Yeah, well, that's the thing. But if you independently publish it, that's what a lot of people are trying to do. They're trying to use it as it's published, even if it's independently published. Because yeah, you're not selling the rights to a publishing house. In film, no. In film, if they buy the rights to your script, they own that script. They can option it, but I don't know too many people that option screenplays anymore. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they'll do an option and then it sort of reverts back to you, and then you can shop it around at other studios. So it's kind of, but essentially, if you have it as a pre-existing product, quote unquote, to say it as a product is so distasteful, but but like to have it as an already existing thing gives you a little bit more. It gives you a little bit more wiggle room in terms of who owns it or what owns it, which is why I think a lot of writers actually did it. Goldman is a really good example of a guy who kind of started out as a screenwriter and novelized a lot of his screenplays, which is funny because he literally, when he wrote The Princess Bride, he wrote the book for The Princess Bride specifically because he wanted to, it was supposed to be a film. He had to make it short because he knew producers didn't like to read, so he specifically wrote it to be pocketable, to be carried in the pocket. But a lot, you'll see, like, it's not a new thing, but I've noticed I don't see a lot of screenwriters that do write their novels, but some of them, and honestly, you probably get a little bit, if you can sell enough, which is probably very hard, it gives you a little bit of, like, financial backing. So anyway, because I do know, like, Alex Garland, when he was screenwriting for like 28 Days Later and all that kind of stuff, he was writing novels. A lot of the money that he was able to squirrel away to be able to do a film career came from more his novelizations than his screenwriting. Ghostly. Okay, you're back. Okay, Ghostly, you're back and locking in. No more distractions. Okay. So in publishing, it will expire, which is a good thing. You don't want to publish it, have it forever. Okay, that's good because they can choose to let okay, and in the film industry, they do that. They literally do that. That's why movies go out of print. You can't find them anymore and stuff. The studio just owns it. Warner Brothers is famous for this. They just sit on their archive. They just sit on the archive and they don't. I mean, Disney did that for years. There was a reason why Disney was a latecomer to home video for that reason. They very specifically did not release things on home video to increase the value of re-releasing it in theaters, and they did that for years. It's actually why in the 90s the Disney boom happened, was because they finally started releasing things on home video. But with the expiration, but with the expiration date, you can sell it back on the blacklist for someone to republish. Oh, cool. Okay, that's nice. So that's like options. That's like it's like options, but it's default. And film when people buy the rights, they buy the right. They buy the script. They buy the whole thing, unless they option it. Sometimes some writers, if you have pull, will be able to put an option clause that if they don't make it, that they'll get the rights back to be able to go shop it around. I have no idea why the flying fuck I spend my week dying in solitary. All of my people busy leaving me lonely. Wait, what? Wait, Ghostly, what are you talking about? Then suddenly, literally everyone I ever met. Oh, so you've been. I see what you're saying. So essentially, you haven't heard from anybody, and now everybody's bugging you at once. That's just how it happens, man. That's called Murphy's Law. That's just it just all happens at once. All right, sorry, shutting up. Yeah. We'll talk about it on break. But yeah, we'll go ahead and start our reading. Yes. Let me switch our music over, but we are going to, for everybody who's going to be writing along, we're going to read some more chapters out of Ghostly's story, The Devil in Jessup. So we'll do that for probably the first sprint and a half, 2 sprints. And then we'll go ahead and work during the third. But for those of you who want to write, feel free to just mute stream. All right, we're gonna okay, this is where I think we are. All right. All right, let me switch up our music. We're gonna put on some spooky tunes. I feel like Ethel Cain's Perverts is actually doing a good job of being background music while we're reading this. One second. Sorry, everybody. 1 second. Where are you? There we go. Some nice drones. Thank you, Ghostly. I am a poor capitalist pig. I'm a very poor capitalist pig now. For having my own imperial empire and ruling 10,000 years over the entire Imperium, I'm so poor. I'm so poor. Please pay your starving capitalist monster. Okay. All right, locking in. All right, we're gonna start. We're gonna go ahead and start it up. Happy writing, everybody. We will catch you on the other side. For everybody who wants to hang around and hear the story, here we go. Of course, yeah, take your time, Cryptid, no worries. All right. Ghostly won't even fight. All right. Okay, here we go, everybody. Part 4. Chevy Dust. The cherry red Chevy tinked and clattered down the road, kicking up a dust storm in its wake. Oil kept his eyes on the road as the beloved rust bucket jumped in and out of the ruts in the road that bordered on moats. Hadley slid and bounded in each bench seat, bumping into Oil a few times. You think Mayor Tibb is actually going to do something about the roads? Hadley broke the lingering, tired, early morning silence. That requires money and effort. Both things that man don't have, he grumbled through the gruff, unused voice. For a man who woke up an hour before he had to every day, he was the worst morning person. It's good. It's a good line. He was wearing his blue-collared work shirt. Hadley never understood why Mr. Ray made his mechanics wear nice shirts with collars when they were all bound to get grease-stained. At least they look spiffy and dirty, she guessed. That's a real thing, Ghostly. That's real shit. I've never understood that, but that was a thing. It might still be a thing. But yeah, like nice dressing, even though you are just going to be dirty. She noticed how sunken his eyes were. It was evidence of what she already knew. He wasn't sleeping. He took a long drink from his dented metal thermos of coffee, black enough to make the devil cringe. The sun had yet to peak above the misty mountains, leaving their morning commute into town shrouded in thin shadow. The opaque shine of morning dew had yet to melt into the soft soil. The nighttime animals had yet to head to bed either. A mama opossum padded through along the tree line off the side of the ditch, her babies riding on her back. Nice. Hadley smiled as they passed, the mama disappearing into the brush. You're working a full shift today, right, Bugs? Oil asked, his heavy eyes not straying from the road. She blinked and the opossum family was forgotten. No, Mr. Parley asked I could leave it. Mr. Parley asked I could leave at lunch. He has an appointment down the mountain and he doesn't want me in the store by myself. Oil's knuckles whitened around the wheel. Damn. Okay. I'll tell Ray I have to leave at lunch to get you. Then you can just hang out in the shop till close. Hadley's lips paled as they flatlined. Oil? Mr. Ray is a good man, but I'm fearing he's losing his patience. You called out almost all last week, and he's never had much to spare on a good day. I know, Bug. His words were harsher than he meant. He rubbed a hand down his face and swallowed. I've been working for Ray for over 10 years now. He understands with everything going on. And if he doesn't, then he'll just have to get over it. Hey, welcome in, Autumn Storyteller. Welcome in. Welcome in. We're just reading Ghostly's story right now. But welcome, welcome, welcome. Hell yeah. Summer camp at the World Anvil does? That's badass. Okay. Hadley rested her hand gently on top of his that was resting on the knob of the gear shift. Bubba, half the guys in town would kill for a spot in Ray's shop. And you need this job. Don't nobody else pay like he does for what you do. Oil's fist tightened on the ball of the gear shift, but loosened as he forced a breath. He still didn't let himself look away from the road. The tree canopy cast shadowy vagabonds that stood silently against the dirt. It's a good line. It's great. You're getting really good at description, Ghostly. Your transition to horror writing has done wonders, I think, for your ability to like really capture the essence and the vibe, but very quickly without lingering too long to just paint a really good picture. What's your idea, Bug? Though his face was hard in a no-nonsense kind of way, his tone was just tired, a thin relent as he realized she had a point. You stay your full time at the shop, and Rhett gives me a ride over. He said, He said he would stop by Parley's today. So then I have myself a full-bred Galahad with a pitchfork if trouble comes a-knockin'. That's good. That's a good line. She gave Oil a playful, knowing look. She ignored that she was scratching at the fibers on her jeans. She took nice. Okay, good. I'm happy with this. I was gonna ask you. I was just about to kind of like start to wonder where we were gonna get back into the skin itching. She ignored that she was scratching at the fibers of her jeans. She told herself it was because she was seeing how well they were holding up as they were fading, but she knew she was lying to herself. Nice, very good. Oil scoffed a bitter sound, finally looking away from where he was going to look at her like she was crazy. Bug, you really think I would be all right with Beckel driving you? Just the two of you? After the shit he pulled last night? Goes like, yeah, I know. Bubba, she groaned, turning in her seat. It's in broad daylight and less than 15 miles down the road. Don't matter. You gave that boy an inch, and he takes a damn mountain mile. Nice. A damn mountain mile, Hadley Bug. His words rose at the tail end of the sentence to only magnify his incredulity. Oil, in turn, her voice dropped. The sweetness that always tainted her tone was stuffed down in her jean pocket. Nice. That's a good line. Whoa! Welcome in, author E.M. Andiger, rating with a party of 5. Welcome in, everybody! Welcome. How did stream go? How goes everything? Welcome in. We are currently reading Ghostly's story. We're getting a couple chapters out of The Devil in Jessup, which is a spooky Appalachian horror story that Ghostly is working on. But welcome. How'd stream go? How was everything? Raid! Here comes the MAM raid. Hell yeah! I I love it. I love it. I love it. Welcome in. I hope stream went well. I know it's a lot of work. So if you got a raid and run, obviously feel free to go rest up. I know it can take a lot out of you. Doing the streams, working on streams. But welcome in. Welcome. Ba, 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 ba. Oh, wait, I got to update this really quick. We're also listening to Spooky Tunes, so hopefully the time doesn't update. Ba, ba, ba. All right, well, let's see. Hi, I love finding new bookish writer friends. Well, yeah, of course. Welcome. A lot of writers here. I'm Wildlight. I probably should just introduce myself. I don't know why I'm terrible at doing this. But I'm Wildlight. I'm a screenwriter and filmmaker, so I tend to write in screenplays and do film-associated things. But we do a lot of like literature, book reading on here. A lot of the writers that hang out here are all novelists. So yeah, we do a lot of writing here. So, yeah, that's what we do. But for whatever reason, everyone's like, let me read prose. I am trying to get better at prose too, so it's a learning experience for me as well, as I'm trying to navigate to do some novel work. So I had the tab muted. Yeah, I get that. How was your stream? Hopefully it went well, and obviously feel free to raid and run. I know it's a lot of work if you gotta go eat food and relax and rest, so no stress on hanging here. But we are currently reading Ghostly's story. Very nice. You're in the romance sphere, but I read all genres except horror. Okay, so luckily, well, your mileage may vary here. We'll see. I like to think that we're a classy horror bunch, and this is we're slow burn, character focused horror writers here. But yes, feel free. Obviously, do not feel like you got to linger if horror makes you uncomfortable, because this is a spooky story that we are reading. But usually, like, focusing more weird. It tends not to be far gratuitous, I should say. And I don't think anyone's really, well, except for probably some of my stuff. But I wouldn't say it's like hyper violent or anything crazy like that. It was okay. It got me writing a bit, trying to survive this heat. Oh, are you still stuck in the heat waves? I'm sorry. Yeah, it's starting to. Yeah, I was hoping that it would break mostly, but I know it's like the world's on fire. So, not me. My horror is not classy. Yeah, Cryptid. Yeah, yeah. I'll bridge the gap. But we're reading classy horror right now. Ghostly's a classy horror writer, so. LOL, I can do gore, but I'm a scaredy cat, so I'll definitely circle back another time. Gotcha. No shame at all. No shame there at all. But it's okay. We're not reading mine today. Yeah, for sure. Yes, take care. You're going to run, but not because of the story. I just have a prior engagement. Well, take care. We'll see you next time, but thanks for stopping by. Obviously, Andajar, thank you for raiding. This is merely about country misery. It's a great time. Yeah. It's whatever horror we're writing, it's always, clearly allegorical about the real plight of the poor working man, or rural, the plight of rural societies. The world is on fire in many ways. Yeah. Not just the actual temperature, just like literally in almost every way possible. Yeah. So, good times. Thanks for raiding in. Have a lovely time zone. Of course. I may watch the replays still up. Oh, good. Yeah, we'll be around. I can't write horror. Yeah, it's not for everybody. It's my wheelhouse, but I get it. All right. Well, we're going to dive on in. We're going to dive back on into Ghostly's story. So for those of you who rated in, feel free to listen along. I usually keep the timer up for folks that want to keep writing and use the timer and just like mute stream, so you don't have to hear me babbling over the thing. So, but in the meantime, away we go. Back at it. Let's dive. All right. Pot 2. Fantasy romance right now, right? Dark Anda, yeah, that's good. Cozy fantasy. I like that Autumn Storyteller. It's cozy fantasy. Okay, yeah, we're talking about our boy. Don't matter. You give that boy an inch and he takes a damn mountain mile, Hadley Bug. His words rose at the tail end of the sentence to only magnify his incredulity. Oil, in turn, her voice dropped. The sweetness that always tainted her tone was stuffed down in her jean pocket. She needed him to know she was just as serious as he was. She gently held his wrist that rested on the gear shift. I know you're scared with what's going on. I'm scared too. But hovering over me like a dragonfly over water in all hours ain't no way to live. Her eyes besought his to meet hers, to understand what she knew she didn't want to. You gotta let me be an adult, Bubba. Oh, it's the worst thing you can tell an older brother. It's rough. I feel you, bud. His jaw ticked under the dirty blonde scruff that had grown into what Hadley referred to as Billy Goat Beard. She felt the tendons in his wrist tighten as he yanked the gear and swerved them off the side of the road. Hadley was quick to brace her hands against the dash, but Oil's arm was already acting as a second seatbelt before she could slide in her seat. The truck stopped with a squeaking lurch, half in the road, half in the ditch. He slammed the car in park before turning in the seat to face her. Hadley's heart sunk when she saw the shine to his eyes. Oil put up no front to hide the exhaustion that was deeper than lack of sleep. This wasn't from nights spent tossing and turning. This was a stress that he carried every second of every day, regardless of sleep. This was a man frayed beyond just the edges, holding himself together with one hand while he held up the world with the other. But even Superman had that green rock. Nice. Nice. Great. That's great. That's great, Ghostly. He had always been Hadley's hero, and she could forget that Oil Lucky Abernathy was still just a man. Bug, listen to me. She had never heard his voice that small. He bit his mouth closed as he fought not to sob, the glimmering sheen over his eyes begging to overflow. Hadley's heart always controlled her body more than her brain ever did. She didn't need to know exactly what was going through his head, even though she had an idea. Her seatbelt was zipping back to its reel as she slid across the seat. She wrapped her arms around him with a grip that told him she needed him just as much. His sobs were silent above her head, a learned skill. Bug, Bug, you have no idea. It was a weak, raw admission that he had to rip from himself. What, Bubba? She whispered, trying not to let her own quiver slip, but held her so tightly it hurt. He held her so tightly it hurt, but she wasn't about to complain. His hand tensed on her back as his fingers wove in his flannel shirt. In his flannel shirt she wore as a jacket. So much. Oh, that's heartbreaking. He rested his chin on her head as he squeezed his eyes shut and finally allowed the tears to take the paths down his face. I can't lose you, Hadley. He swallowed, picking his words very carefully. I can't lose you in all this. Nice. I ain't going nowhere, Bubba, she promised, her voice muffled by his shoulder. His frame shook under the violent rack of his lungs, but he remained mute. His hand came to hold the back of her head, his fingers tangling in her hair. We can't be making promises bigger than us. He swallowed that pill himself. Just know, Hadley, everything I do is 'cause I want to keep you safe. I don't like telling you no or keeping you locked away from home. And I'm sorry. I love you, Bugs. You're all I got. Oof. This is rough. Hadley buried her face in his shoulder, squeezing him back. I love you too, Bubba, and I know. She swallowed the slowly boiling rebellion that she had repressed throughout her teen years. The fire had no chance against the ice bucket that was Oil's tears. She could feel the salty damp against her hair. This is good, Ghost. This is good. This is if you've ever had a conversation like this with a sibling, this hits. Yeah, this is good. You're doing a great job of showing, not telling, too. Where there's a lot of limited dialogue, but you're filling the gaps. You're definitely filling the gaps with kind of a lot of the unspoken language that does exist between siblings or people who've just known each other for that long. You'd see it sometimes with couples too, or just like friends who've been friends since childhood. This sort of like non-vocal ability to communicate, which you're doing a really good job here of letting that work. It's work in between. 1 second. Okay. Because it's like I can read this and be like, I've literally had this moment and this conversation with my brother many times over the years. Like it's very familiar. It reads very similar. It's very good. It's very good. And also just like really really encapsulating kind of what you're trying to get at with these characters stuck in these rural environments where they kind of are islands unto themselves, like lost in a world where they don't have anybody. They're like fundamentally, even when they're trying to hang on to each other, they're fundamentally alone. It's very good. Yeah, you're good at that, Ghostly. You're definitely good. I tapped into your empathy power. Empathy power is good. It's the curiosity, just a genuine curiosity about life, and your ability to empathize with people, the two things that you absolutely, I think, need if you're going to be a creative person in terms of expressing human experience. It's the only two skills I think you've got to have. Where do we go? Okay. She could feel the salty damp against her hair. I won't argue no more. Just please don't worry this much. It's breaking you. Her voice wavered a bit at that. His fingers tensed in her hair. She could feel his chest expand as he filled his lungs. As the breath was freed, so released his tight grip on her. He trembled slightly with the effort, but he managed to let her go, to pull away just enough to meet her eyes. His hand found the side of her face, his fingers still woven loosely through the strands. Hadley Grace. His eyes were red and puffy, but steadier now. Can you promise me something? She swallowed and nodded. She rubbed the tear streaks from her own cheeks. Can you promise? Oil bit his tongue, his reluctance thick as molasses, but he did it anyway. Can you promise that if I let Beckel pick you up, you will keep him at arm's length and come straight to the shop? Oh, this boy. Oh, that's good, Ghostly. Because because that's not really what we're talking about. That's not really what he's talking about. It is, but it's not. That's good, Ghostly. That's subtext. That's you're doing the subtext thing. That's good. Do you see why I love it? You're doing good. That's subtext. That's important. He's not saying what he's meaning here. He's saying he's obviously means it. He's not lying. He doesn't. He wants that. That is a concern of his, but that's not really what they're. That's not really the struggle. It's not really emotionally what he is. You see why? I mean, yeah, but there's more going on than just being protective of her. He's clearly got a lot other. He's clearly there's a lot more emotion going on behind that. Yeah. Yes, totally on purpose. Yeah. Right. She swallowed an eye, rubbed the tear streaks from her own cheeks. Can you promise? Oil bit his tongue as reluctant. Oh yeah, we got that. Hadley was never good at hiding her emotion from her face, but even if she was, it wouldn't have mattered. Nothing could have stopped the disbelief from furrowing her brow, the confusion from tinting her eyes. I promise. She nodded, but didn't seem certain, as though unsure if this was a test. Yeah, it's a good break. No, Hadley, I'm serious. She could see that much in his stare. I need you to swear to me that you will come to the shop and nowhere else. She nodded again, an oath in the head tilt. I swear, Bubba. Oh, yeah, okay. All right, well. He sighed again, somewhere between relieved and resigned to the arrangement. He put the truck back in drive, and with some clattering and a great amount of rocking, they were back on the road, kicking up dust. There was a heavy silence as they rolled through the thick, gasping trees. Oil rubbed a hand down his face as he carried on. Even outside of everything happening, I worry about Beckel. The look of discomfort was a telltale sign he did not want to have this conversation, but he already let too much slip. Might as well air it all out now. Why worry about him? Hadley was still recovering from the previous conversation, her mind already spinning to see how the two connected. Oil swallowed a cringe at the thought. I don't want you to end up like so many gals round these parts, Bug. Yep. Yeah, that's real. Married? Hadley was lost to the thought of the world. Oh, Hadley. Uh, Hadley was lost to the world. Ooh, I love that. Hadley was, that's a great, yeah, it was lost to the world. She was far from dumb, but she was no stranger to being oblivious to what some would consider the obvious. Back when her mama wasn't so bad, she used to say, "My Hadley Grace too busy living in her little daisy field to mind the real world." That's great. Yep. Oh, that's funny. Hadley's cheeks went ghostly white before flushing. Oh, wait, sorry. Oil managed a faint, disbelieving scoff, shaking his head at the road. No, Bug. I mean, what happened to Bethabel? Bethabel Graves, or I guess Wyatt now. Hadley's cheeks went ghostly white, flushing in full bloom, a dangerous cocktail of offense and embarrassment. You really think that of me, Oil? Oil's teeth clenched under the weight of instant regret. No, Bugs, that's not what I'm saying. Then what are you saying? Because you sure have a lot. You sure have said a lot this morning. I like it. She's pissed off now. Oh, that's funny. I'm saying I don't trust nothing's judgment under the age of 30, Hadley Grace. I don't trust nothing's judgment under the age of 30. Hadley. That's funny. I like how under the age of 30, it's like 30 is the cutoff for judgment. That's great. It's a good line. Oil's foot that wasn't on the gas bounced. I was young once too, Bug, and I know what it does to you. I trust you with every dollar in my pocket and the deed on the house. But I don't trust no boy, specifically not Rhett Beckel. And I really don't trust no brain chemicals that fuel you youngins. Hallie's fingers dug into the fabric of her jeans, the crawling itch that wove under her skin deepening into the muscle with the mounting anger. Don't compare Rhett to Jed Wyatt, Oil. It was a low, constrained anger, but Oil knew it. He's certainly not a bastard like that bastard, but what he lacks in bastard makes up for in dumbass. He ain't a dumbass neither. Her voice rose to the defense. She swiveled in her seat. All boys in their 20s are dumbasses, Hadley. It ain't nothing personal. She huffed as she fell back against her seat. She crossed her arms and set herself looking out her window, a not so subtle statement of this conversation is over. If you have to worry about something, worry about whoever keeps talking or whoever keeps taking folks, and not about being an uncle anytime soon, because I ain't that stupid, even if you don't trust me. Oil swallowed his comeback, his fingers tightening around the wheel as he felt that rubber band ball in his chest stretch a little tighter. He shoved back down all the emotional sentiment that had been panned up from that deep place he kept it buried. Regret tasted like Altoids chasing toothpaste. Oof, yeah, that's a visceral. Oof. He accelerated a little faster, needing their destination to come quicker. Nice. Okay, great work on the chapter, Ghostly. Good. I mean, your strength is always going to be character writing. It naturally character writing. Wait, was this Jed Wyatt? Where have I seen that name before, I wonder? Jed Wyatt, that does sound familiar. Why do I know that? I just realized I forgot ads going. So ads are going to drop in the middle of the sprint. So for everybody out there who is writing, if you can hear me, mute stream or something because we got ads rolling in. My bad. That's my bad for not catching it. I apologize. But we'll go ahead and let's break at chapter and run it. Is that a character from your story, Cryptid? Are we doing... Oh, Booker's sister, the motherfucker. Oh, okay, okay. That makes sense. Okay, gotcha. I do. Bethabel Wyatt. Okay. That makes sense. I mean, it's fantastic character writing, Ghostly. You always do really well at that. You build to it really well, and you're gonna hate the note. You're really gonna hate the note. I want to feel the itch. I want to feel that itch more. That's my only note. Is you don't have to keep describing it as the itch, but in some way I kind of want to feel that imposing. It's got to impose. It has to actively impose maybe even it might be interesting to have it because you do such a good job getting your characters into kind of a flow where they're when they're talking and you're kind of being able to explore what you want to explore with the relationship dynamics. And it's funny because I can tell you're just like, and you did it to yourself, Ghostly. You set this up. You set the scratching up. You set the itch up. But it might be kind of funny to use your frustration or at least your annoyance at it for Hadley. Because it's like, I can't focus on that right now. I want to focus on this conversation. What's going on with my brother? Clearly what you want to focus on is your right. Was it not good enough how it got worse and she got angry? No, it was good. I'm not feeling it impose on her life enough is my only, that's my only thing. Consider how the discomfort acts as tension in the scene. It needs that's my only thing is I need to feel the itch. If you put the itch in there, because you have two mentions of it. You mentioned it twice. And they are fleeting. Like, you make a point of them. You definitely and it makes sense. Like, it gets worse as she gets frustrated, as she gets angry. You freaks and you scratching French. You Ghostly, you put it in the story. I am counting because that's what there's a reason why I'm counting is because you have now set this up, Ghostly. You have set it up now as this mystical thing that has happened that you set up in the story. This is you've set this up as the expression of it. So now I'm clocking it because I'm waiting to see what that turns into, or how that eventually consumes or causes problems for the character, because you've said like that's the sense of the uncanny that you're like now imposing on your character's world. So now I'm hypersensitive to it. So that's the only reason why. That's the only reason why I'm paying attention to that, is because I'm wondering where it's at and how it's building and what it's building to. You don't need to obviously like go big with it or go crazy. But I do think you need to show it, because I actually think what you're trying to do is more interesting than something that's just like big and bombastic, because a lot of times it's kind of like a death by 1,000 cuts. You know, it's usually the things that really get to us, the things that like just wear us down over time, particularly thematically with what you're getting at in the story in terms of isolated people and rural environments and just the battle of attrition it is to just live as a human being in these places. Having that itch really just slowly just nagging, pulling, starting to crack who she is even as a person is more interesting to me. So I just need to see that more. Sensei jokes aside, I deeply appreciate you keeping me accountable. It's good. I may not be an expert, but I have done some horror writing, and while I am all about throwing tropes and genre conventions to the wind, there are just certain things that I'm like, I think you should do it in your own way and not in like a tropey way. But I do think that there's reasons why you should probably focus on at least be mindful of it as you're going forward, and how you can eventually use that to your advantage, both as character conflict and honestly as spooky. You sometimes you'll find as you build these things up over time that these things end up becoming something that you didn't initially intend them to be, and they could have a bigger impact than you ever thought they would. You just kind of like got to do your due diligence about trying to keep it on point. Keep it subtle, keep it there. Yep. So Chekhov's gun. Yes. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying, is a little bit like Chekhov's gun. You don't necessarily... The thing about Chekhov's gun is you can't... Obviously, the introduction of a gun means you have to use it. Doesn't necessarily mean you have to use it. But because that's the expectation, you have to do something with it. You have to have... You can subvert it. You can do something... But you're playing... The moment you introduce it, you're playing with a convention now. And so then you've got to workshop it. The quiet and silent is what would really work for this. Yeah, exactly. Why let you have an award? You are expert. I have an award that some crazy people in Portland decided to give to me. This is nothing. you're building up these things and they turn into something. They're turning into something you didn't even mean. That's totally not me in this. That's just writing in general, Ghostly. That's just how writing works. Don't stress over it. That's how writing works. He got you good. He got you good. Jeez. But no. Other than that, it's, character writing is always your strong suit. So other than that, chapters is stunning. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna pretend like I'm not curious why this is. What the title of this chapter has me intrigued. Subtext, yes, very on purpose and intent. Totally thought it. Well, kind of. I mean, think about it. Like when you gave me those very kind words about the scene between Bryden and Iggy in the car on their way to San Francisco in my script. When you were calling out about how much I was doing in the dialogue there, which I did work really hard at. That's what I'm talking about. That you're doing a good job of like laying the groundwork. Like obviously he is concerned. He's obviously concerned about his sister getting trapped by getting pregnant in a town, because that is a problem that exists in rural worlds. I mean, famously, I actually have some interesting stories about Wyoming, and my mother used to tell me a lot growing up why she was always considered the stuck-up prude for that specific reason, was specifically because my mom refused to get stuck in a town by getting like pregnant and married, and she took a lot of flack from a lot of people socially in that because of that, because she wouldn't date people. But like that concern is like is, even though it's still there and as a concern, it's masking a deeper sort of like despair he's feeling, a sense of powerlessness that he is struggling with, that he feels alone with. He's clearly playing the protector, but he feels like she can't see him as weak. And you kind of get into it with the whole seeing him as Superman kind of thing. But like he can't, like he's alone. Like he's self-imposing himself to be alone, to try to like be this sort of rock for his sister and for the family in a place that's hard on people. And that's destroying him. It's like it's literally bleeding him dry. So that's like well, yes, the intention, like he's not lying, but there is a deeper thing going on there, and that's what I meant by that. So, and sometimes, as I said, you're not doing it intentionally, but it's still there. Doesn't mean it's not there. Be right back, cat things. If I come back bleeding, don't worry about it. As is the way with most cat things. Okay, all right. What do we got? We got 5 more minutes in the sprint. See, I did think one thing though, and that chapter is gonna hit real different on second read after this is finished. That's good, Ghostly. That's smart. That's very smart. That's what I mean. That's just good. For me, the best writing is always going to be that kind of thing where when you go back and read it and you start seeing what's happening, that it recontextualizes the scenes that you've set up. I mean, that's just good writing, in my opinion. That's good storytelling. Because once certain things are revealed, it changes the entire way that you see how things go. So that's exciting. All right, we got 5 minutes left in the sprint. Let's see. All right, how long is this chapter? Because I don't want to stop in the middle of it, break, and then come back. Okay, so we got some. I just want to make sure that we can probably do it in a single sprint time. Oh, this is a bulky one, Ghosty. Oh, you've got me on a bulky one. Oh shit. Oh, that's a beefy chapter. Okay. We are probably not going to be able to finish that chapter in a single sprint. Okay. Do we have a break? Do we have a chapter break? Oh boy. All right. Well, we'll get through what we can get through. That's a monster chapter. Let's see. Also, what's with the AI Furbies, Wiley? That is it's for my lookbook. That is for a I have a Muppet robotic Muppet creature that's from the cyberpunk rom-com I wrote, the film. And so I'm making a lookbook for just design ideas I'm pulling from for how I want this thing to look, because I'm sending it to a designer, a person who used to work in toy design, to try to get something, because it's a puppet. It's supposed to be a broken down version of what a commonly produced toy, like a Furby or like a thing like that, in a cyberpunk society, like a collectible that's become sentient and is a Nietzsche spouting sentient angry Muppet, essentially. So yeah, it's Gizmo. Yeah, it's like Gizmo, which is why Gizmo is on there. Gizmo is on there. But that's what it's all just. It's essentially, I'm building a panel for the lookbook. That's what that is. I do. It does it breaks. Okay. All the line pictures are chapter breaks. Okay, gotcha. All the line pictures. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Ghostly. Look, all I'm gonna say is I lost like 10 minutes with the raid. Ghostly, I think even without the raid, we were not gonna finish this chapter. This chapter is huge. It's like a 20-page chapter. Also today I found out there was a Predasaur that had baleen like teeth and, oh really? A paleo art looks wild. Oh shit. Can you drop that, Nell? That is cool. Can you drop that in like the art or in like just the general thing in the Discord? If you have a link to like an article about that, I'd actually really like to see what that looked like. New Wildlight bio, Nietzsche spouting sentient Muppet. I mean, that's kind of when I did send that script to people, they were like, "You're just Nubino." You realize that high school. Oh, welcome in. Oh God, what is happening? Welcome in. Oh, Pathlos Single Simulator. Well, welcome in. Thanks for redeeming the stretch. We should stretch. Ghostly. We could have done it. We should have done it. Look at that. The 6 minutes also lost. Okay. Well, I didn't want to. Okay. All right. It's almost done now. Usually I try to use the end of these to talk. Oh my God. Things are happening so fast. Okay. Let me bring that up. That's nearly 20 minutes. Ghostly just wants the reads for the whole thing. No, you're good. Don't worry about it now. I got the link. It's good. Ghostly isn't wrong and spent her toy coins well. That's true. That is true. I'm being shortchanged, damn it, by a capitalist pig. That's fair. But welcome in, stretch. But was that Path Losing Simulator redeem stretch? So thank you for that, everybody. Stretch. And Lurk, welcome in. Thank you so much for the stretch. Everybody, we're going to take our 10-minute break. We're going to stretch. I'm assuming we're going to read into the third sprint, since Ghostly feels robbed. Basically 20 minutes. I've talked to video in general and pinged you. Okay, cool. Thank you, Nell. All right. Okay. Okay, actually, we'll run ads too. Yeah. All right, let me go restock on my tea, everybody, and I'm gonna stretch since we did get a stretch redeem. So everybody stretch if you should. I know you should not expect anything less. Yeah. Oh, and now the yeah. I know how this goes. I have seen this before. I know how this goes. All right, I'm gonna go restock on. I don't know where she gets the feral behavior from. The mystery, sometimes inherent in the system. All right, I'm gonna go get tea, stretch. Everybody restock. Go ahead and restock on drinks, hydrate, and yeah, we'll meet back here, and we will continue on for part 5, Maximo, which I'm not gonna lie is a very interesting title. Curious. Has me curious. All right. I will be right back. Okay, where are we at? All right, 3 minutes left. Okay, let me go ahead and run our ads. Do. Wait, what is happening? Oh my god, there's so many. There's so much. It's like trying to every time I step away, trying to. Oh, Tort might be offline. I'm not sure if Tort might be offline. What is happening? Don't know. I've been sick. I mean, I am really sorry you've been sick for a week. That sucks, Ghostly. That's really rough. That's a long time to be sick. I've been caged, all three of my wolves. Uh, Ghost. Did you just say tell Tor to wake up, bitch? Good lord. Yeah, it might be Tor might be offline. Pull up something from the clubhouse. Oh, there you go, Cryptid. That's a good one. That's a really, yeah. No, I teach me value. I've always been a hipster. True, true. Um, Good lord. Okay, I'm not. I shouldn't. Yeah, I should not be shocked at all that you would just yell at Tort to wake up. Okay. Um. What? Yeah, it was like, don't make deals with Starman. I don't think any. I think I think a lot of bad things come from making deals with strange Starman creature. That's the vibe, at least. It's the vibe I get. I have no idea. That's standard ghostly behavior. You did. That's true. You did survive the Hell House. I don't. Yeah, but I don't think you were actively like you were actively like seeking out the powers of Hell House. I think Hell House just happened. Uh, Ghostly Photoshop. Are you the picture for the beginning of this chapter? Ghostly, did you really? It doesn't initially look like it, which is a damn good job. Hell yeah. All right. I still don't know the whole story. Oh Jesus. Uh-oh. All right. Oh, did you change the name? Nice. That looks good. Shit, Ghostly, that's really good. Nice job. Holy shit. I think if it wasn't for the pixelation, I probably wouldn't even be able to tell. If it wasn't for the clip pixels around it, I don't think I'd be able to tell at all. Because the text itself matches really it matches really well. You got depth on it. It works. Oh, really? Oh, it was. Okay. It was originally called Parley's. Okay, and then you just changed it. That's well done. Goes. That's a really fucking good job. That's a great Photoshop. Shit. All right. And end of the timer. We got a stretch. We got that. All right. We are coming back from ads. Coming back from our break. We're going to dive. Oh, you mean it wasn't? Yeah, okay, I figured it wasn't. All right. Complete. Okay, there we go. Oh, I did promise Nell an extended break. Okay. We'll extend a break on the next one, Nell. My bad. I've completely forgot about the extended break. That's what I get. That's what I get. All right. We're going to dive in. We're going to read into this next chapter. Ba-ba-dang. All right. For everybody out there, we're going to keep reading this story by Ghostly. Title of the chapter is Maximo. For everybody writing, go get those words. Happy writing, and we'll catch you on the break when we come back. Happy writing, everybody. And away we go. Wait, did you not go? Go. There we go. Okay. There we go. Swabbing before the clock. Okay. Oh shit, that looks cool as hell. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's dive on in, everybody. Okay. Part 5. Oh, did work not go? Yeah, tore my. Yeah, no, tore. I can tell Tort's. I can see. I can tell the bot's not in. The bot isn't active right now. Um. Do. Okay, here we go. Oh God, are you really Ghostly? You're sweating like I am feverish because we're pretty sure I've. Oh Jesus. Oh, that's really bad. I was like, please rest. I did, and I'm sick. Fucking sue me. Yeah. I hope you can. I hope you can go back to the doctor, man. That's you don't want to fuck with that stuff. Pneumonia is really bad. Okay, we're gonna bring this. We're gonna bring this up a little bit, just so I don't get lost as easy. Yeah, clearly. It sounds like if your doctor, yeah. I was like, I think your doctor might be trash. All right, let's do it. Part 5, Maximo. Hadley was hopping out of the truck before Oil was even at a full stop. This was a bad sign coming from Little Miss Seatbelt Hadley. The door slammed shut before Oil could put it in park. Shit, he sighed between his teeth. He threw his door open, not bothering to even turn off the engine. Hadley was already on the slanted porch that would creak under the leaf. Parley's Stuffs was a staple in Jessup, which was either quaint or sad because of perspective. It was originally a shack that was used to sell essentials to miners back in the gold rush. But the ship of Theseus had sailed, and not a single splinter proved to be cut from the same decade. Nice. Okay. Hadley fell into the shadow of the low slumped roof. She passed the Coke machine that perhaps still had bottles containing cocaine. Hadleybug, Oil's voice stopped her hand before she chipped white paint off the pole handle for the screen door. He watched her stiffen, and he knew it took all her stubbornness not to turn and run to him. It wasn't her to stay mad or to run from whatever did it. He leaned against the hood and pulled his poorly greased back hair out of his face. You're gonna make me do it, aren't you? Hadley remained set in stone. Oil traced the untamed waves of gold that flowed from her head and snaked like a river down her back. Damn it. He rubbed his mouth as he pushed off the truck and shook his head to the ground. With a learned acceptance, he took up his signature's dad stance. One hand on the hip, other already picking at a cigarette carton. Oh boy. Yeah. In a begrudging sing-song this is the worst. In a begrudging sing-song voice, Oil regaled. Moon pie, hitchhike, Alabama orange sky, Aunt Mary can't lie, ain't nothing like white lightning. Pigs fly, don't die, sour water and rye, Yankee moonshine gone dry, still ain't nothing like white lightning. Scrape knee, Pee-wee, Prohibition, Tennessee, Blue Devils hanging tree. Now I gotta get me some Appalachian lightning. Jesus. Yeah, this is how you destroy. Oh man. This is my Roman Empire right here. Yeah. Oil recited every word written on his heart. That was Hadley's green rock of weakness. It had been since she was knee-high on him. More vividly than memory usually allowed, he recalled the late nights he would spend up with a very sick-prone little Hadley. They would sit on the porch in the deep, dark Appalachian night, considering that they didn't have central air for many years. Oil found the fresh mountain breeze proved kinder on the feverish toddler. Hadley would sit on his lap as he walked them in his mama's porch rocking chair. Even when she was so small, she was a good talker. So, when delusional on fever and exhaustion, she would babble all kinds of nonsense. Usually what she heard from the old people at the diner. And over time, Oil started piercing together his own string nonsense words. There were many renditions of their song, but Appalachian Lightnin' was the one that stuck. It was that silly song that could stop a flood, or settle a storm, or make the world stop for 3 little verses. Or at least, that's how it was to Hadley. Nice. Oh, nice. Got the porch here. Very good. Very good. That's very funny. She slowly turned around, her frown falling at the edges. That ain't fair. Oil managed his half smile. You left me no choice, Bugs. She huffed and slowly marched back down the steps. She didn't stop until she made it to him and rested her forehead against his shoulder. The Hadlish translation of I forgive you. Oil wrapped his arms around her in a hug. Love you, Bug. Love you too, Bubba. He pressed a kiss to her head before pulling back and holding her by the shoulders, bending down to her level. Hey, don't be dumb. Don't break any valid laws. And if you do, don't get caught. I like that he specifies valid laws. That's you know, and because don't break the unvalid one, the non-valid ones or invalid ones, not the valid ones though. She smiled like she was never upset with him. No killing, right? Something unseen by Hadley or man alone flashed behind his eyes. It was only a fraction of a second, but it was enough to make her so cold. Oh, interesting. Whatever it was, he either stuffed it down or it passed before she could even think about what she was seeing. Oh, okay. He ruffled her hair and looked away from her to the road that was suddenly interesting. Not unless they deserved it. He finished the setup that had been a parting term between them for more years than memory cared to log. I like that, Ghostly. See, I like that. That's a good. Okay. You're giving me something to pay attention, like something spooky and weird or dark. He didn't give her a spare second to question whatever that split second was. He started for the still grumbling Chevy. Oh, that's good. That's a good picture. And I'm dead serious, Hadley Grace. That Beckel boy brings you straight to the shop after you get off. And if he tries any shit, you hit him with the car. Nice. Hadley swallowed her concern and pushed up a smile. I'll get him with the door at least. Oil lopsided smiled at that. He gave her a little 2-finger salute. Hadley repeated the gesture before spinning on her heels. She knew Oil was watching her go inside, so after she had the screen open, she looked over her shoulder to stick her tongue out at him before disappearing inside. Thank you. I found this one guy from this one movie, and he is my Oil. It's good. It's a good picture. Definitely works. I'm trying to think who that actor is. It does look familiar. Oil lip twitched at the gesture, shaking his head as he got into the truck. The door slammed, and it was just him and the hum of the engine. Like a curtain falling, his smile plummeted as he was faced with reality once again. No more inside jokes to distract him from the state things were now. The shadows under his eyes seemed to grow. He thumped a cigarette out of the carton and holding it between his teeth, an old Zippo sputtered a sad flame that made the bud glow. He flipped it closed before taking a long drag, letting his head hit the back seat. His thumb absentmindedly rubbed the star engraved into the side of the lighter. The lines thinned down and filled with grime. I like the star engraving there and the star-headed sort of starman. Yep, the repeated. It's good. It's always good to have some repeated imagery there. Get some spooky imagery, repeating symbols and things like that. Just like simple like that start to take on a more sinister vibe. He dropped it in the cup holder before putting the truck in reverse and forcing his boot to meet the gas. Oh, that's nice. I like that's a good creepy. That's good, Ghostly. I like that. 2 weird eyes. Very good. The tone shift is super. Yep. I mean, for whatever reason, like the transition from spaces always works. So like the slamming of the car door settles the kind of change in mood and air of a scene. You can kind of get away with doing a really hard tone shift. It's very good, Ghostly. Hadley's smile faltered as the screen clattered behind her. Even more than the argument, the glimpse behind Oil's eyes irked her. It was the same sensation that wrapped her bones like saran wrap, that crawling, squirming feeling, except in her brain. Something was wrong with Oil. Gotcha. Okay, yeah. Her thoughts were interrupted as she stepped down the half step to the slanting floorboards. Hadley girl, a gruff of Chuff called from behind the counter. Mr. Parley was sat on his stool that was as old as time, held together by too many nails and the grace of God. He was a big, jolly ball of a man. She always thought of him as Santa, if Santa wore overalls, and always had a cheek full of dip. Nice, yep. He flicked his hat over his bushy white eyebrows and smiled a gummy smile. You're late, little miss. Did you stop to smell the daisies again? Yeah, crawling, squirming in her brain. That's good. That's so gross. I love it. Yeah. And also you tying it to the sensation in her skin. It definitely makes it gives it more of that kind of metaphysical, spooky Starman vibe. Like, is this all the Starman? Is this just another? Is he affected? Did he make a similar deal? That kind of thing. At the crossroads, it definitely it bridges these things together, which I like. It makes you question what's going on. I do not know what a gruff of Chuff is. I have no idea what my thought is, but I feel like I can never remove it. Even if it is a little bit of a Jabberwocky situation, or a Jabberwock situation, then it works because I feel like it paints the perfect image. Saran wrap is awful. The only thing worse than styrofoam, yeah. Saran wrap is yeah. There we go. Hadley chuckled and shook her head. Not quite, sir. Oil couldn't find his wallet. She was a good liar when she needed to be. He tapped his cane he held between his legs against the floor. You found it, I take. Yes, sir. She nodded curtly, already straightening a leaning shelf of Cracker Jacks. What would that boy do without you? She looked up from the shelf with a knowing glance. He certainly wouldn't have no wallet right now. Mr. Parley belly laughed, his cane tapping with every roll. It's good to have you back, Miss Hadley Grace. I missed you last week. Her light expression grayed. She kept her back to him as she busied herself for an excuse. Yeah, Oil didn't want me going out when things were bad. Mr. Parley nodded, his jolly falling prey to the solemn expression. I don't blame him in the least. If my daughter still lived at home, I would have locked her away too. Terrible thing, really. He spun his cane in his hand as he dazed off. But I'm sure Sheriff Berkeley will have everything set out to dry soon enough. Hadley nodded, straining things that were already straight. I like straightening things that were. I'm assuming that's straightening things that were already straight. I reached in the soil it sprouted from. Thank you. I reached into the soil I sprouted from. It's very good, Ghostly. It works. Before she had to think of something else to say, a ball of fleas and love came barreling from around the shelves. Oh, we got a puppy dog. Hadley's face lit up as the mutt of Burns Mountain and maybe a coyote came barreling at her. She fell to her knees and opened her arms as it collided with her. Hi, handsome, she cooed as she scuffed his face. She scrunched her face as it was cleansed with a tongue. I see you miss me too, Percy. Mr. Parley chuckled as he leaned forward on the counter. He's been winding up a fuss all week. Though Percy was very much a big boy, that did not stop him from crawling into Hadley's lap with the elegance and grace of a blind elephant. She laughed through her winces as the dog stepped on her in the most uncomfortable fashion, though it was out of love, of course. For a few fleeting moments, Hadley forgot about the itch of her very being. Nice. There's the itch. With one more rotation on her lap, Percy flumped down, finally comfortable. She scratched his mane of wry, muddy brown hair, watching him with the fondness of a mother to her child. Mr. Parley cleared his throat before sitting back on his stool. I got a mission for you, Miss Hadley. She glanced up, looking past the overgrowing bangs that fell in her face. Call me Jamie Bond. She managed a brave smile, though she knew where this was going. Yeah, big dog. Yeah, big dogs that don't know they're big dogs. Perfect. I wasn't able to make it out Thursday, and I've run plumb out of sausage. Hadley really knew where this was going. Mr. Parley pressed one of the typewriter keys on his ancient cash register and proved to be both his pride and his joy. Is that enough scratching for you? We'll see. Remains to be seen. But you started off strong because we got the weird irritation in the back of Oil's eyes and all that. You're starting off strong. Starting off strong. It's gonna carry you always. It chimed and the drawer rolled up. And the drawer rolled open. He pulled $10 in crumpled ones from the tray and pushed it across the table. Go see Maximo. Or go see Maximo? She asked out of curtsy. Take Percy with you. Don't need you going out alone now, Mr. Parley expertly ignored directly answering her question. He picked up a foiled newspaper from the counter and buried his nose in it. It was his unspoken gesture of, this conversation is over. Nice. I like that. You've got more weird to start, which I like. We'll see where it goes. Yeah. Yep. I do like, okay, does everybody hate this Maximo person? Now I'm just assuming is Maximo just make everybody uncomfortable? Just like everybody's like, nope, just gonna not address that. Hadley sighed through her nose and lumbered to her feet. She pocketed the $10 and grabbed a battered plastic shopping basket that had been brought or stolen from a Walmart, probably the latter. Nice. That's a fantastic touch, Ghostly. I love that. Is my favorite thing about small town shops. I'm not gonna lie. Is that they 100% have like shopping carts and bags from just other main stores that they get when they go to town. I love it. That's a really great touch, Ghostly. She snagged a jar because it's 100% stolen. Yeah, it was definitely not bought. She snagged a jar from Puffy's peanut butter, dropping it into the bottom of the basket before she turned the door. She didn't bother to dilly-dally. She didn't want to postpone the inevitable. I'm sure I do. All right. Ghostly, I love Maximo. That's fun. Okay. All right. Very excited to see where this goes. Or it's going to be a Princess Bride thing, which is partially what I'm expecting. She didn't bother to dilly-dally. She didn't want to postpone the inevitable. She whistled as she pushed the screen door back open. Percy patted her with a skipping step. Hadley didn't let herself think about the potent disapproval Oil would have at this errand. He wasn't letting her walk to the mailbox by herself since things started happening. Oh, man, this poor kid, just on lockdown, much less walking to the edge of town. But she wasn't about to argue with Mr. Parley, and besides, what Oil didn't know wouldn't hurt him, right? Hadley walked down the middle of the road, Percy's nails scratching against the cracked blacktop. Downtown Jessup was a reanimated corpse. It stayed nice. I'm very excited. Very excited for a description of the town. Downtown Jessup was a reanimated corpse, its state of decay varying on who you asked. Much like Parley's stuffs of Theseus, the bones of Jessup were as old as the faded rock gravestones that spotted the mountain like birthmarks. The history of Jessup was hardly history, as most of it was still very much being used in the present. It was a place both stuck in time, while also never being from one time. Nice. The main street was never particularly busy, but now it even lacked its stray one or two old people and their morning walk. The storefronts that weren't shut down husks were all open for business, but the screen doors weren't popped agape like they usually were. And it was summer. The central air for many was still a pipe dream. Leaving the doors closed in the summers was a sentence to death by slow cooker. Nice. One of the few things to be heard in that small crook of buildings was the drone of box fans from windows. They picked their battles. Nice. You're doing a good job painting. Yeah, this is good. A practically empty, dying town. I'm very uncertain about the following bits, so we'll see. Thank you. It's so good. Goes through the section is such a perfect example of atmosphere writing. Yeah, the box fans leaning into box fans, the closed doors in the sweltering heat. Um, that's all good. That gives you want those textures, to set the mood for sure. Um, she swung her basket at her side, humming to fill the grating quiet. I like that. Percy skipped beside her, his tail wagging with only a dog's joy. Hadley watched the stores as she passed, looking for anyone, and finding no other presence to comfort. She knew there were people around. Miss Harp was minding her dinner on the corner, no doubt a quarter of the population of Jessup whispering inside over their coffee. But as she passed, the sun caught the window, and all she saw was herself and the empty road. Nice. That's creepy. That's good. She took a breath and forced down the anxiety she had been ignoring. It was a looming feeling that had plagued her every waking moment the past 2 weeks. She was good at disassociating from it for the most part, but when she was alone, she found it got louder. Yep, that's good. But she wasn't alone here. She had Percy. And if she really strained her ears, she could hear the faint little rattle voices from a few of the open doors. That's good. I really like the idea of like this is good. This is very good, Ghostly, because it's at least because I'm immediately going to think of this like a movie, like it visuals in my brain. But I can see the kind of tracking down the street, and you hear the box fans whirring in the background. The doors all closed, but from behind the closed doors, you just hear this indecipherable cacophony of whispers. It's very unsettling. It's good. You're doing a really good job of painting that kind of like that kind of anxiety. Like empty town anxiety. So you're doing a good job setting this up and giving us a good view of Main Street, because this is the first time we've seen Main Street. Okay. Wait. Okay. Wait, no. The issue wasn't being alone, because she knew people were around, but there was not a single soul to be seen. There should have been people here. Those voices should have faces. Yeah, see, this is all good, Ghostly. Yeah. That's why it's uncanny. It's why it's unsettling, is because you can't see the people. It's just all withdrawn from view. Why couldn't she tell which windows those murmurs came from? Was it even coming from the windows? Was she ever actually alone? Or was there something in the wind? Yeah, perfect. Yeah, this is all great. Yep. Voices on the wind, all fantastic. She took the thoughts out of her head, moving with a little haste to her step as she passed the last of Main Street. She turned off the blacktop to the dirt road that cut up to the back roads where the farmers lived. Hadley swallowed as her sneaker hit the dirt. Hadn't been on the Hadley swallowed as her sneaker hit the dirt. She hadn't been on this road since things changed. She changed. Nice. Okay. This is good. Moon Pie, Hitchhike, Alabama, Orange Sky. Awesome. All right, I like this. Yeah, you're doing a good job building the paranoia. We're looping back in the song, which is good. Moon Pie, Hitchhike, Alabama, Orange Sky. The tune was a warbled whisper. She needed something to anchor her, and through the wrongness that now suffocated her, she thought of oil. Ain't nothing like white lightning. Have you seen? Yeah, see, I love this, Ghostly. Have you seen Missing Girl? What happened to my girl? Yeah, these are great. Yep. For all the missing kids. Yeah, fantastic. Hadley routinely rubbed her hands against her jeans to clean them off the never-ending cycle of sweat. Percy could sense her unease and didn't stray to smell every plant off the side of the road, like he usually did. The street lamps dotted the ditch, all dead in the daylight. I want everyone to be uncomfortable all the time. I like that. The dull lurch under her skin. There we go. Yes. The dull lurch under her skin prickled to a sting with every step. The trees seemed to turn as she passed, their knobby eyes that used to be arms watching her every move. They were waiting for her to join them. No, they weren't. They were trees. Trees had roots and didn't turn their trunks like little necks. With every breeze that rustled the tall quilt of leaves, a shiver racked her from head to toe. Yeah, big fan of that. She was only waiting for the whisper to crawl in her ears. Nice. Hadley didn't let herself scan the trees. She didn't want to see if he was watching. Yeah, I love this. This is great. But she knew he was there, somewhere, and she wasn't about to acknowledge that night again, maybe in hopes that he would move on too. But that's not how deals work, is it? Great. Great work here, Ghostly. The meat stand sat directly under the street lamp at the heart of the crossroads. It was a dirty folding table that looked like it had been dragged to the woods repeatedly, which it had. A somewhat cleaner blue tarp covered it like a tablecloth. From nails pounded into the tabletop hung furs and a few pink rib cages, rabbits from the size. The meat freshly freed from its skin, in which the skin it was now neighbors with. Atop the table were little piles of packages wrapped in that brown butcher's paper. The clerk to these fresh wares was stood behind the makeshift business. His readable stare was nothing else than Hadley. But she swallowed, but didn't break. She swallowed, but didn't break stride. Yeah, pink rib cages. Yeah, the void, the butcher. Yeah, you got this. It's great. It's good work. Okay, all right. Before we dip into, because I think we're about to introduce Maximo. Okay. Before we get into that, everything you're doing here, Ghostly, to build the paranoia, the sense of the town, that's all fantastic. You're doing great work. It's good stuff. But that is a prime point to like bring the itching to the forefront, to add to that moment, because you set yourself a perfect sort of landscape. You set yourself a perfect landscape for this like quiet paranoia, particularly when she's scanning the trees looking for the Starman face. Think of externalizing the interior and in making interior the external. The anxiety, the grinding, the visceral nature of the fans, the whispers grinding up against the itching that's going on inside is you're there. You're literally there for, and the damn itching to explode into this moment of just like, to really like isolate her in this moment of not just being isolated in a town that is seemingly empty, but also just internally, like what she's experiencing in her own biology, her own like actual physicality. So you're right there. Like you literally set yourself up for it, and that's what I mean by using the itching as a point that you can kind of bloom into moments of just, you have a moment here to make something real, really get your hooks in and make us uncomfortable to read. And that's where you do it. That is a moment where you can't just do, and she was still itchy as one line. Like, you need to have a moment happen there. That is building up to a moment, and you need to let that moment happen and breathe before we introduce this character. So that's before we move into that. And I would probably argue that you should have it build in there and make that a chapter, and then go into the Maximo bit. But that's a structural thing. Don't worry about that too much for now. But I would literally build up going through town and having that be its own scene, its own moment, let that sit. Okay. All right, let's go back to because we got, let's go back. All right, let's go to Maximo. Okay. What I hear is making the itching a main character. Well, because it's to make the itching the main character in the way that you've made Hadley the main character, because now they're inseparable. So make the itching, treat the itching the way that you're treating Hadley, and and use that tension within that character. Think of it like even writing a story about someone struggling with their depression. Oftentimes the depression or the anxiety or whatever it is becomes almost a character that they're contending with. It is it is both her. It is now her. It is an alien thing that is now a part of her. Like she needs to have that moment with it, and this thing that feels alien that is like crawling across her. Like that's a visceral thing. It's like it's definitely a thing you can like really lean into in the body horror element. And I think these like moments that you're building up with paranoia and anxiety, oftentimes paranoia and anxiety happens externally, but we feel it here. We feel it internally inside ourselves. So you can let that's where you can really let that kind of bloom into a really horrifying or like visceral moment. All right. Anxiety is an alien thing that's now part of you is going to be something I have to lie on the floor about. Yeah, it's kind of what it is a little bit. It's a part of you as much as it's its own thing, because it in a way it is you. In that moment, in that brief moment. All right. In that, when you get caught up in it. All right, Maximo. All right, let's do it. Okay, she swallowed, but didn't break stride. Like most kids in Jessup, I really don't want this to come off as like a critique for, this is only because everything that you're doing elsewhere at Ghostly is so masterfully, it's really masterfully done. It's crafted very well. So yeah, I definitely don't want this to come off like I'm being harsh. Like most of the kids in Jessup, Hadley grew up hearing the legend of Maximo Coon. His last name is Coon. I love Maximo Coon. Okay. The man that just walked out of the woods one day. Oh boy. Okay. Okay. So he's a woodsman, a hunter. Very cool. It makes sense why he's the butcher. More of a locally applied last name for sure. You appreciate, okay, yeah. I definitely, because obviously usually it's Ghostly's work, you're writing, particularly doing something your first time doing, is incredible work. So just got to make sure that you know that you are aware that you are doing outstanding work for someone who's taken a crack at this for the first time. It's unreal how good it is. I'm not sure Maximo really has a last name. Maximo just has a name. Maximo's probably not even his real name. He has no name. He just ventured out of the woods, and society deemed to give him a name, but he has none. The legend of Maximo Coon, the man that just walked out of the woods one day. Some said he was one of the last. I think you have definitely mentioned it, but I don't know anything. I think you have told me about the hunter. Yes, Max. I didn't, for some reason, I didn't bridge the fact that Maximo was the name of the hunter or the Boggs man. But I do remember you mentioning this. Wait, you're gonna cry now? Wait, why are you gonna cry, Ghostly? Okay, possibly more than 3. Yeah, it's possible. Yeah, I'm sorry, Ghostly. Feel bad now. Okay. Some said he was the last of his prospector. Some say he was the last of the one of the last prospectors who ventured out to find his fortune and is now cursed never to leave. Oh, gotcha. Okay, good. Those are good tears. Ventured out to find his fortune and is now cursed never to leave. Others say he's a wild man who was raised by wolves and learned English only after stumbling into Jessup. Some say he does meth and kills. Peak. That's a peak. This is a. I'm not gonna lie. That's some good. That's a fucking great character description, or a great way to introduce like the legend of a character. is all these wild things, and then he just does meth and kills animals. Oh, I love it. I love that. Hadley figured the truth was either far more interesting or far more boring. But more than that, she suspected it would be a mystery that died with the hills. He was a scrappy man, but no less grisly in appearance. A wired brown beard hid the bottom half of his face, while a tangle of matted hair hid his top. Only two mucky brown eyes peered through the bush of hair and leaves. Nice. Oh, he's got like druid vibes. I dig this. He's like Appalachian druid. His frame was swallowed by what used to be a firefighter's jacket. Very good. Very good. But had developed into a dilapidated trench coat. It was his second skin, even in the Jessup summer heat. All right, that... I take my take with Maximo. He has his 5 minutes of fame. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, okay. That's me shit. You're okay. I see that. That is absolutely... I have talked many a time how I've done that. I did that shit in Arizona. Some say a wizard even. Ah, yes. Yeah. Do you see my inspo? I'm starting to. Very, very flattered to be the inspiration for such a legendary character, Ghostly. Jesus. Percy barked at him like he did every time. Hadley imagined the dog saw Maximo as more a small bear than a man. He made no gesture of greeting as Hadley came to his table. I've immortalized you in a way I thought you would appreciate. Thank you, Ghost. It was very kind of you. Greeting as Hadley came to his table, though he never did. He made no gesture of greeting as Hadley came to his table, though he never did. She forced a kind smile, pushing down the festering that inflamed her skin under that sleeping street lamp. Nice. Good morning, Maximo. He gave her nod. This was progress. He gave her nod. This was progress. His eyes paced about her as though she was an unfamiliar map. Little Abernathy, he asked, more uncertain that he should have been. More uncertain than he should have been. It hadn't been a month since her last visit. For sure, a call-out, 100%. Her brow ticked, but she nodded. Yes, Hadley? Her brow ticked, but she nodded. Yes, Hadley, did you fall again? Hadley, did you fall again? Did you fall again? Her tone turned with concern. He huffed a grumble that could mean many things, but she interpreted it as no. He looked from her to the empty crossroads. Looked different. The words were low and gruff. Displeased. I appreciate your actual, the way that you are even, like, writing, your descriptions are more like truncated, which is you're selling the scene really well with like you're truncating even the line descriptions. It's very funny. Yeah, the words were low and gruff. Displeased. Hadley had too much going on in her head to question the old mountain man. You got any deer meat today, Max? Mr. Parley is fat bastard. He finished with a bland flavor, his eyes coming back to her. She frowned, so not to laugh. No, he needs more meat to make deer sausage. Maximo grumbled again, but bent down under the table. From his ice chest that was missing a lid, he started bringing out bricks of meat wrapped in brown paper. He stopped after stacking the sixth. That is 2-0 cost. Good lord, this man is from the woods. I love knowing what all this means. It's so delightful. Thank you, the ghost. I do love that he clearly is a wild person. This is 2-0 cost. Can't even 2-0. He explained, holding out a dirty gloved hand. Instead of reaching into her pocket to get the cash, she reached down into her basket. She beamed a smile as she held up the unopened jar of peanut butter. What about now? Something akin to unhinged delight peeled his eyes open to their limit. 1-0, he said quickly. Yeah, I was like, Maximo's a fucking icon. This guy is doing his own thing, man. This I appreciate being what inspiration I can provide for this character. This man lives by nobody's rules, which hell yeah, brother. Hadley extended her arm to give it to him, but he snatched it before she got far. Oh, geez. All right. Break time. All right, everybody. That is the end of that sprint. Um, we are going to start the down timer, stretch, restock, and then I do owe Ghostly some extra time, so we will start the next sprint reading and continue on with good old Maximo. I did forget we do need to extend the timer, so we'll add an extra 5 minutes because Nell did it did do the extended break. Salute is a Spanish toast. Cheers, an English toast. Bread, milk, butter, cinnamon. That's a French toast. Oh, gotcha. Okay, that's salute, right? I don't know how to pronounce it. So how you like boy so far? I mean, I like that. Definitely a wizard druid. It's fantastic. Fantastic so far. Amazing introduction. I'm surprised anyone buys meat from this man. But knowing a few of the hunters in Wyoming, they are weirdos, and people, they're like, well, he's weird, but he knows meat. So it's great. Maximo is such a goddamn delight. You've nailed the otherness here, but made it yeah, you've definitely nailed that he is a weirdo. Also, you've also made it that he's the only one visibly out in town, in a town of people hiding. So I'll give you props for that. It's visually you've set him up, which does an incredible job of hiding clues in plain sight that you've put out. Oh, nice. Okay, he's based off this guy I know. I appreciate it, Ghostly. It's very, very sweet of you. You even had Twilight reading right past it, which means you've won. Yep. That's how you do it. That's how you do a good. That's how you do it. Is you need to setting your little clues, because that's gonna subconsciously be in the back of my brain as you're kind of painting them into the world as we experience them, and then they become meaningful. We go back, and now we see it. Oh, thank goodness. The impression I got from Wyoming that one time I passed through it is accurate, almost universal. I was worried I was being stereotypical. No. Wyoming is very Wyoming. I love that. Look different, and then just immediately he needs more deer sausage, and he just says fat bastard. he immediately assumes he does not understand that this man has a shop, that he's eating it all for himself. It's very funny. Some stereotypes do hold, varies by region. Yeah, I mean, there are stereotypes about Wyoming that I think don't hold up, but there are some that do, for sure. Ghostly, you've got steak? Do you get steak when you're sick? Is that a thing? I want steak. Yeah. That's... but steak is really... In LA, steak is very expensive, though. So, it's not... Now, if I was in Wyoming, that is a thing that is true about Wyoming. If you want red meat, like steak or ground beef or anything, it is cheap. I'm gonna grab a few slices of pizza. Enjoy your pizza. Back in just a... Then again, we did stop in Rollins. Oh, shit. Now, you were in Rollins? Rollins is rough. Yeah, I should... Exactly. Thank you, Ghostly. Go to Maximo. Yeah. That's actually the thing, is I'm really bummed about that. I did not get the benefit from the cows we had in the back pasture in Wyoming. I'm pretty sure my mom said she saved me after they took the cows to butcher, because we had cows in the back pasture all year. And I'm pretty sure, and they didn't do it this year. I know they didn't do it this year because they were behind getting the cattle fence up. And I'm pretty sure I missed out on that because I didn't go back home last year. This is what I get for not being able to go back home last year. Because there was my mom specifically was saving me a bunch of meat. Damn it. Because usually when I go there, I get elk. Which they better have saved that elk for me. I'm gonna be really pissed off if they did not save the elk. Twilight, did you skip lunch? No. I did eat lunch. So, but I think it was just I don't think I've had steak in a while. Actually, you know what? I had steak in China. So, I mean, beef. Yeah, we are doing a version of the Oregon Trail, except we ended in Utah, not Oregon. Oh shit, really? No, that's pretty badass. That's cool. I dig that. That must have been a blast of a time. Anyway, Rollins is a very depressing place. Even where my like a lot of my family's located in Wyoming, they man, it's all it that is oil company town. My cousin's kid used to work security at the oil fields out there, and that is a they're all just that is rough. That is a rough town. Rollins is no good. A lot of meth out there too, and a lot of people doing dumb stuff, getting drunk and killing themselves. Oh, good. Glad you got to have a nice. Oh yeah. When I eat very well in China. China is one. I love Chinese food, like traditional Chinese food, not like this like going to a Chinese restaurant here where it's like kung pao, but like lots of dumplings, a lot of like shumai and stuff like that. Like you get a lot of that, and then they eat a lot of beef. A lot of beef in Shanghai. Also, a lot of Shanghai is big for seafood too, which is very good. Okay, we are gonna run ads here shortly. Yeah, apparently I weirded out all the Americans because the prairie was comforting to me. Because it's kind of an ocean, particularly if you get out in like Nebraska, and lots of Wyoming is just open, empty prairie slash not even really prairie, just like high altitude plateaus of nothing. All that open expanse, and they were really deeply uncomfortable with it. I mean, I don't mind it, but I can see why some people might go it. When you live out there, it can make you stir crazy because there just is nothing. There is a part of it's like the desert in that way. It can kind of fry your psyche, staring out at just it's like staring out at if you lived out on the ocean and just saw nothing but the horizon, like no land or trees. Like it can do strange things to the mind. But if you enjoy, I mean, people enjoy it. So if it was like a Zen thing for you, then that's yeah, embrace the prairie life. All the while, I could deeply imagine it being covered with bison. Yep, and it was in pre-Columbian times, and it was pre-Western times. It was filled with bison all the way up until the 1840s, 1850s, until when the government wanted to start using the land. So then they started. I think they were offering. They would pay you. I think like something like a nickel. It was like a nickel or a dime. It was a lot of money, like per head. Like per bison head, they would just pay you to kill them, just wiped them out. But it was like the 1850s or 60s. I'm pretty sure they were around, and a ton of them for a long time. You got to have a real good relationship with yourself in those spaces. Yeah, that's true, Crypto. Exactly. For sure. Otherwise, you end up living some version of the lighthouse. Yep. Well, the lighthouse is different. Lighthouse is what happens when you trap two men inside a large phallic object and with nothing but the ocean and they end up just murdering each other. All right, we're going to run ads. So we're going to do an ad run, and then we're going to dive back in. I don't know if we'll be able to finish the chapter, but we'll try to get to like a natural breaking point. And then we'll finish off the story because I do have a hard out. I'm actually going to go over my hard out a little bit, but that's okay. Oh, wait, I said I was going to add 5 to the 5. Oh, yeah, that's right. I got to add. So we'll run ads and then hang out for another 5 minutes. Ghostly is air fried a steak. She is winning. Hell yeah, Ghostly. Well done. Yeah, I've seen the photos of the mountains of skulls. Yeah, it's crazy. Good job, Ghostly. I don't have an air fryer. For a long time, I refused to have an air fryer because I thought it was like bachelor. It felt like a very bachelor thing. Is like, for a long time, it felt like for me the Foreman grill, where it's just like, if you were some like college guy, you were eating Hamburger Helper and had like a Foreman grill. So I like for some reason in my brain, I just thought an air fryer was the next version of that, and I was like, I'm not gonna have an air fryer. Like I go home, go back, I visit my dad and stuff, and they all have air fryers, and they're really good. They work really well. So at some point, I'll probably pick up an air fryer. We appreciate you sticking. Oh, of course. Well, no, yeah, I like hanging out with you. I just gotta. There's stuff I have to do. I have to take care of, but it's always a pleasure getting to read ghostly work. All right. Well, getting to read everybody's work. I enjoyed the little bit I got to read of your work too, Cryptid. So I'm always happy to read people's work on stream. I enjoy it. For what little help I can offer. I am by no means an expert, but I do try to offer what little I can as a non-prose writer. All right. We'll chill for 5 more minutes and then dive in. Ghostly has forgotten to eat a lot. Well, you're sick, Ghostly, and it is hard to eat when you're sick, so that makes sense. I have an air fryer, but we've never used it. One of these days, Camilla's going to bully me into it. It works, man. I shame away. I will not judge, and I plan on getting an air fryer at some point because I have been proven wrong. Also, it's really, really like it actually does. If you want to like. If you like extra crispy if you want like the inside, like the juicier parts of like a chicken or meat or something to be juicy, but the outside to be really crispy, which is how I tend to try to make most of my meats. Air fryer is really good for that. It if you cook it and then just like do a thing in the air fryer, it'll crisp it up without like overcooking it and drying it out. As long as you don't, overcook it in there, it works really well. The sick does it. I don't think I have eaten an average 1.5 meals a day, and I have been told this could be. It is you have to eat when you're sick, especially when you're sick, Ghostly. So I'm glad you are eating. Thanks. I'll bring more soon. Yeah, it's always a blast. I'm just torn between bringing in next section or just big beats because I don't want to bog downstream. Yeah, don't worry about that too much. If it gets too crazy, we'll pull back a little bit, but might limit it to like 1 read a week or something like that. But it works. And we don't have a ton of people redeeming that. Recently, usually it's only been Moon Runes, Ghostly, and you tend to be the folks who redeem it. Sensei, you sweet sensei, says, well, honestly, your thoughts and advice have been my writing renaissance. That's good. I'm glad. I know you've been struggling with it, so I'm glad. Whatever help that can give you, I'm happy to try to provide it because I know it can be rough sometimes. Being creative and telling stories is hard. It's not easy, and it is work, regardless of what people like to say. It is really, really work. Yeah, don't fear bogging downstream. Literally look at me spending all my money all the time. You're fine. Yeah. It's the three of using chat to hoard all of the Tor coin. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And Opera Soria hasn't yet because Opera Soria has all of the Tor coin. If anyone's got the Dragon's Hoard of Tor coin, it's Opera Soria. And Opera Soria's got a lot. And Opera Soria would absolutely make me read code on stream, so at some point I'm sure that'll happen. Ooh. The one thing about it though is I have noticed my voice does take a little bit of a beating. I'm down to 20. I actually wonder how streamers who talk like variety streamers who just primarily talk on stream, I'm surprised that they're able to do it. I do not talk this often most of the time. I'm down to 22k. I'm looking pretty poor. Ghostly. Wait, I have more Tor coin than you? Whoa. Yeah, Ghostly's been spending. Ghostly's been heavy spending on I mean, The Devil and Jessup. We've gone through total 51 pages of the story so far, so it's impressive. It's impressive. Cryptid, I am a material girl. Gotta have that. You're the perfect person in a the kind we need in a capitalist society. We need all these hyper material folks. Exactly. From George Lucas's THX 1138, man, one of my favorite lines ever, to Robert Duvall. Buy more now and be happy. And it's an image of Jesus flickering on a light screen, and it's just like you go to church and it just tells you to buy more. It's great. It's great. If you haven't seen THX 1138, absolutely great early George Lucas, pre-Star Wars George Lucas movie about dystopian society. It's fantastic. And shall we not forget the entire first act of Insults, which honestly bonkers. That is true. Yeah, we did read all of that too. Oh shit! I was gonna tell you, Nell. I got the picture. This dinosaur is frightening and badass, and I'm a big fan of it. The teeth are unreal. So thank you for sending that, Nell, because that is the flayed, like it's almost like the I can't remember the name of the teeth for whales, but the one that like blue whales have when they filter, like krill. It's like that, but like actual teeth. That is wild. Oh, sorry, a Plesiosaur. Sorry, not a dinosaur. What a freaky monster bird, flying lizard. Yes, yes, you are correct. It is not a dinosaur, but that's what I mean. Freaky monster bird is what I'm going to call it. Already got the notebook out. Oh, good. Ghostly, take notes for the next Wildlife propaganda. Yeah, right. Overall, Wildlife has probably read over 100 pages of mine. Probably. Sorry, end paleo rant. No. Please. These are the corrections I appreciate. Like a like pterosaur. Literasaur. There we go. It's okay. You'll get your whale terms refreshed with from the belly. Yeah, that too. Yeah. Anyway, my stomach is being grumpy. Gotcha. Like pterosaur. Gotcha. Anyway, my stomach. Oh no! I think water near my friend's place is not clean. That's not good. Ew. Please get rest, and also, maybe drink some other water, or if you have like filtered or bottled water, but that's no bueno. Oh no, so you just need to take meds. Yeah, take grumpy belly, grumpy tummy, not good. Take meds. All right. We're gonna dive in. We're gonna try to get to a decent stopping point for this, and then we'll shift over to the rest of the sprint, working on stuff. All right. For everybody who's writing, happy writing, and we will catch you all on the other side. And away we go. Okay. Especially because that place is. Oh, it's not upkept. Yeah, that's true. Yep, I know that. Not good water supplies, thanks to shitty landlords. Okay. Hadley extended her arm to give it to him, but he snatched it before she got far. With a practiced efficiency, he spinned the lid off and tossed it over his shoulder. His finger poked through the tinfoil seal, finding his buttered joy. He took a swab off his finger and nodded. Hadley was unbothered by the sight. She was preoccupied pulling the money from her pocket. Maximo's feasting was disrupted by it's just a feral, absolutely feral creature. Maximo's feasting was disrupted by his trench coat moving. A large mass crawled from his back to his side. What? From the inside of his coat, a mass snoot poked out. Smelling the air. Oh, what is this? Is this a Virgil? It's a Maximo and a Virgil. This will be a moment of pride that you have put your own Virgil in this story. That is. And Virgil is the raccoon. That's fair. If I wasn't the raccoon, it would have to be Virgil. This is great, Ghostly. Hadley looked up and smiled. There you are, Virgil. The raccoon crawled up onto Maximo's shoulder, where it proceeded to reach for the jar like a beseeching infant. Amazing. I fucking love this. This man has a pet raccoon. I love everything about this. Maximo sighed his relent and held it up. Virgil snatched up the peanut butter and, in an instant, buried his whole head in the jar. He was Nap, Maximo explained. Virgil is like an ongoing joke. I have a Virgil that I put in like a kind of a throw to Virgil. Sometimes it's a character, sometimes it's something else in my scripts that now has become kind of a thing Everyone should have a Virgil. It's become a little bit of an inside joke, but it's become a little bit of the I throw a little nod in most of my stories at this point. But this is peak Virgil. Virgil's a raccoon. It's hard to beat. I also love that this man does not. It just says it's so. It just barely can speak. He was Nap, Maximo explained, sucking the last of the peanut butter from his finger. Hadley laughed at the creature shoulder deep in the jar. She reached over the table to pet its bushy tail. You'll spoil him rotten. Maximo scoffed. With his free hand, he assisted in stowing the bricks of meat into her basket. Already rotten. I spoil him fat. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Hadley handled him the $10, which he seemed to care less about post peanut butter. Yeah, he works for peanut butter. Maximo was more focused on figuring out how to peacefully get it back from Virgil. With a huff, he's got a whole relationship with this raccoon. With a huff, Hadley hauled the notably heavier basket off the ground. Percy nipped at her sock. She almost believed he wanted to get out of there as much as her. Almost. Hadley's goodbye was still rising from her throat when Maximo's heavy hand landed on her shoulder. She looked up to find his eyes, looking through her like she was wearing a mask. Uh-oh. It's his child! It is. I got the child's right there. You're not a raccoon, though. You act like one sometimes, though. Wait, little Abernathy. Hadley's throat ran dry. She never was able to tell anyone no. She didn't budge an inch. Her skin was burning under his hand, but she had gotten good at ignoring it by now. And that line, yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good. She'd gotten good at ignoring it by now, but I don't know if she has. Don't know. I don't know if she has. Maximo was hardly ever readable. Burning, stinging, crawling. Yep. The clues. Yeah. Maximo was hardly ever readable, but Hadley could have sworn there was a pity in that unhinged stare. He reached into his coat pocket without looking away from her and pulled out a scratched up mag light. He took her hand with his and set the light in her palm, closing her fingers around it. Interesting. That's cool. It's like one of those random things, but actually is like really meaningful. Why? The cold ridges bit into Hadley's palm as her fingers tightened around his. Her eyes flickered from the thin metal cylinder in her hand up to Maximo. His eyes were almost concerningly serious, urging Hadley to listen to these words. Trees not kind to martyrs. Stay in light, always. Nice. Very, very... I do love how much it's don't go down that road. I love it. It's peak that. Very good. Creepy, cryptic. It's definitely playing into the thing. Into the thing. I like it. Trees not kind to martyrs. I like that. It's a good line. Hadley swallowed the desert in her throat, her eyes falling on the mag light as he let go of her hand. This wasn't like Maximo. He was weird and odd and mysterious, yes, but not severe and cryptic. Yeah, the trees are not kind, peak Appalachia for sure. He was harmless, Maximo. Wasn't he? Hadley opened and closed her mouth to question him. She watched as he proceeded to fight Virgil for the peanut butter. Yes, yeah. He's like, and now back to getting his peanut butter back. The raccoon swatted at him blindly as he attempted to pull the jar off the large rodent's head. She wanted to question him. What did it mean, trees and martyrs? Why was he acting like he knew something he shouldn't, or something she didn't? Nice, that's good. Her questions were halted in her throat at the sound of rattling down the road. One of those old white police cars was rolling down the Cubbing Road. Oh, no! Fucking cops. Coming to spoil everybody's good time. Rolling down the Cubbing Road. If Maximo noticed, he couldn't care less in the presence of peanut butter. Hadley resisted the urge to make a run for it or duck into the woods, a feeling she was unfamiliar with. She liked Sheriff Berkeley. He knows a lot. He knows a lot. The police car rolled to a stop about 20 feet before the stand. The driver's side opened and a shined black boot stepped out. Sheriff Berkeley had already adopted her sunglasses, even though it had turned overcast into the holler. Berkey. Sorry, Berkey. My bad. Sorry, I was like so used to Berkeley. Berkey. Her hair was in one of those high and tight buns that was murder on the hairline, but she made it work. Hadley swallowed as the sheriff looked back and forth between them. She had no reason to be nervous. Why was she nervous? She ain't done nothing wrong, right? Good morning, Miss Abernathy. Maximo? Hadley's name was far sweeter on her tongue than the mountain man's. Her mirrored sunglasses only lingered on Hadley for a moment before fixating on Maximo. Law was the extent of his acknowledgement to her. His focus was still on wrestling the jar away from Virgil. Sheriff Berkey watched Maximo with a stone stare, her glasses a shield to her inner thoughts. Hadley's eyes flicked between the two, following the line of tension that had started to gather in the air. Nice. Yep. Yeah. I'm reading. I know this. Law. Yeah. It was broken as Berkey's reflective stare turned Hadley's own face at her. Yeah. Fucking aviators. I hate those stupid cop glasses. Hadley saw she was paler than she should have been, and her eyes were a little wider than she meant. Seeing these things pictured on the stone face didn't help them. Oh, I really like this little moment, Ghostly. I really like this I like the moment of like her catching her reflection in like cop sunglasses for the first time and like kind of being like, oh, I don't look too healthy. I like that. It's a good moment. And what are you doing out on your lonesome, Miss Hadley? She asked with a cool kindness, but there was an accusation there. Hadley managed an airtight chuckle as she leaned down and patted Percy. I ain't alone, Sheriff. I got me a big, strong man right here. She put her teeth in that. Smile. Nice. Yeah, as you should. As you should. Smile and just smile and nod when the cops are asking you questions. Berkey cracked a smile, but that didn't mean much. Hadley had never met someone quite as good at controlling their face as Sheriff was. I think a squirrel would chase him up a tree, but that's a nice try, Miss Abernathy. Berkey's falcon-like attention swiveled back to Maximo as he managed to pull the jar off Virgil's head. With one hand, he held a raccoon raging in peanut butter withdrawal. In the other, he held the drug itself. Virgil's face was a mat of fur and buttered peanut. Sheriff's attention was still on the wild man when she spoke. Miss Abernathy, you and the dog go wait in the wagon. I'll be driving you back to town promptly. Hadley faltered for a moment. Maximo looked up from the feral animal to the woman who stood far more unnerving. Then his eyes fell to Hadley, and maybe she imagined it, maybe she blinked weird, but she almost thought he gave her a little nod of, go along. Her feet pedaled back a step before her brain told them to move. Her skin prickled in Berkeley's presence, but even with her new nature, Hadley won herself out. She was never one to argue. She snapped her fingers for Percy to follow as she turned her back to the crossroads. Berkey's voice was low as she spoke to Maximo. They were drowned out on the wind as Hadley got closer to the car. She opened the back for Percy before letting herself in the passenger. It wasn't the first time she had ridden in Berkey's beater of a cruiser. When they were kids, she was often caught with Rhett in places they didn't belong. Almost always Rhett's idea. Then Berkey, being the hawk bloodhound hybrid she was, would always manage to find them, even when she wasn't looking. Then, with a simple whistle, she would have both their asses in the back seat. Sometimes, without a word, she would drive them back to their respective homes to let their families handle it. Berkey was often more a sheepdog than an iron fist, keeping kids out of trouble and generally herding the masses away from danger. Besides, she didn't much need to be strict with folks. Jessup had respect for Sheriff Berkey that was more akin to weariness. Enough people had seen her wrestle a bobcat off a kid to win before. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'd back that up, Cryptid. That makes sense. I'd say that's probably a fair show. It wasn't even 2 minutes before. Oh wait, I skipped. Hadley watched the interaction through the pollen dusty windshield. Berkey's back to the car. Berkey's back was to the car, but based off Maximo's mouth remaining still, he was getting a warning of some kind. The blankness in his face only deviated to glance at Virgil, who was gnawing on his sleeve in attempts to free himself. It wasn't even 2 minutes before Berkey gave him a nod and turned around, walking back to the car. Hadley saw past the sheriff's shoulder to Maximo, who was stood still in his spot, but his attention wasn't on Virgil anymore. Those eyes that could have led Tartarus itself were locked onto Hadley. A cold sweat prickled the hairs on her arms with the sensation that he was looking through her skin. Those were eyes that saw something, and Hadley wasn't sure what that something was. Nice. I like that. That's great. Her staring competition was disrupted by a flinch as Berkey slammed her door shut. With one hand on the wheel and the other behind the passenger headrest, she backed up the wagon. Dust kicked up in an arch around the car as the back end spun around. How much? Hold on, oh, good Lord. Okay. Okay. For him to look at her and not a cop says so much. Yeah, that it's really, it's, you know, it's one of those good moments of telling, you know, like there's something more important going on here. There's something unspoken that's there, that I think really works. The grating of the plastic dug into her lap under the weight of the meat. It was a familiar stinging pressure she knew will have left a red hatching tattoo on her thighs come the time they get back to Parley's. Which Hadley didn't have to ask, and Sheriff Berkey didn't have to tell. Hadley contemplated breaking the full silence of the cabin, but Berkey saved her having to think of something. Mr. Parley send you to get this meat stock again? It was only phrased as a question for set dressing. In practice, it was rhetorical. That's true of all cops. They always do that. They always ask. They phrase everything as a question that is rhetorical and specifically phrase things in a way to try to mislead, essentially try to get you to step up. They're trying to catch you lying. Cops are like snakes. You got to keep your eye on them. Yeah, that's the truth. Maximo ain't never met a pig. Ain't never met a pig he was scared of. He keeps bacon. Hell yeah, Ghostly. I do like, or never met a pig. He was afraid. Met. Yeah. Damn right. You're good, Ghostly. Don't worry. We got you. Hey, Hadley nodded, keeping her eyes on the yellow-dusted windshield. Yes'm. Berkey sighed, her knuckles white against the wheel. You tell him Sheriff said you ain't going on no more errands by yourself, got it? The lightness in her tone took on a severity. Hadley bit the inside her cheek and swallowed. She glanced to the Sheriff out of the corner of her eye and saw behind her sunglasses the heavy bags that drooped under her eyes. It was then that Hadley figured the glasses weren't for intimidation. Yes, ma'am, she agreed, notably quieter. Yep. Busy time. Missing kids. Busy time for a cop. The Maximo and Johnny handshake meme. Yeah. Berkey kept her sights forward on the rocky dirt road, eyes always scanning the tree line in vain hope for something to come out, everything to make sense again. I think I can forget to tell Oil about this if you can get a promise that you ain't gonna go out on your own again. There was no bartering in the offer. Hadley's nails bit into her jeans. The seat felt hotter on her backside. Nice. I won't be wandering, Sheriff. Berkey nodded curtly. Even as the wagon climbed onto the smooth blacktop, she still gripped the steering wheel with an iron fist. Also, till this town gets its head screwed on straight, I don't want you seeking out Maximo Coon. Leave that wild man to me and the woods. Hadley's brows furrowed with a sympathetic offense. You can't be suspecting Maximo of anything, Sheriff. She couldn't hide the scoff. I suspect everything right now, Hadley Grace. The words were clipped. Berkey's patience was as thin as the fumes she was running on. Hadley snuck back into her seat like a scolded child. Any bit of gall she would have been building up was demolished with a sentence. Yeah, Maximo Coon wouldn't hurt anything except for a rabbit. And deer. And, game. A silence like the quiet of the eye of a storm came over the paddy wagon. It wasn't as noisy as the pay road. Only the grumble of the engine and the whistle of the wind through the cracked window disturbed the tension. After a long moment, Maximo's a good man. The audacity. A cop would immediately suspect. Poor Maximo. Just hating on wizards. Yeah, they be hating wizards. After a long moment, Berkey sighed and let her hand loose on the wheel. Look, in my 20 years in Jessup law, I ain't never seen anything like this. So many folks, in so many different circumstances, don't just go missing back to back with no trace. Something's rotten, and until I can get some kind of damn lead, ain't no one free of suspicion. Hadley kept her eyes forward on the road, the bones of Jessup sticking out in the distance like bits of a shattered hand. A plus horror story description right there. The bones of Jessup sticking out in the distance like bits of a shattered hand. She nodded a little bigger than she needed, but she didn't need Sheriff thinking she was ignoring her now. I think it would be wise for you to have a similar mindset, Miss Abernathy. Berkeley sped past the 25-mile-an-hour sign going 38, as cops do. She only put on the brakes when Hadley could see the wood grain on the side of Parley's. Sheriff put the wagon in park in the middle of the road. Hadley was already unbuckling her seatbelt and reaching out for the handle in hope of escape. Hey! Hadley froze, feeling the reflection of those sunglasses on the back of her head. Be safe out there, Hadley. She didn't look back, but she could hear the soften to Berkey's tone. Will do, Sheriff. Thanks for the ride. Hadley only allowed herself the half glance back to give her a sub-convincing smile. Then she was out of the car. She took a shaky breath as she hauled the crate up the steps. Behind her, the engine roared before quickly fading down the road. It was then that pins and needles eased. All right. And we are going to call it there, Ghostly. I think that's... Oh, wait. Is this the end? Never mind. We're going to finish it. Jesus. How evil would that have been? All right. It was the burn behind her eyes that remained. She squeezed them shut to silence the ache, but they only screamed behind her eyelids. Hadley shook her head, but the termites in her skull just kept crawling. Nice. I like... See, this... Okay, this is all great. Yeah. This is good. She pushed down the sensation that was growing harder and harder to ignore as she hit the screen door and pushed up a smile. Nice. See, that's okay. Yep, you got you're bringing it all back around, which is great, Ghostly. And honestly, I think you could probably get away with, I mean, maybe some trimming, but you could probably get away with a lot of this as is. Particularly with because you are kind of writing in the kind of grinding, the grating, and the back of her skull. The termites in her skull just kept crawling. Because you are kind of writing that in as she's in the police car, and it's kind of grating against, it's uncomfortable. But I think that will work if you add the bit beforehand when she's strolling through town and have it really kind of come to the forefront in that moment. I feel like this then reinforces the point without overstaying its welcome. Would be my note. So I think if you add that bit at that beginning and kind of expand on it a bit, this all works fine. I'd say you're doing the perfect amount of reminder that it's all coming together. Also, if you want to get grosser, you need more visuals. Yeah. Carpenter ants have very big pinchers. Yeah, you can definitely. I don't know how descriptive you want to be of the like the grossness of it. I'm trying to let you find your voice in that in the woods there, Ghostly, in terms of how hard you want to go with the body horror. Um, so I'm not giving notes on that. I'm gonna let you find your own way on how disgusting or how gross visceral you want to go. I'm gonna focus more on like the mood and the tone and the characters. But if you want to go harder, you should definitely go harder. You should get like very descriptive and very uncomfortable if you want it to hit really hard. Um. Okay. Okay. But other than that, it's. I mean, as you're knocking it out of the park for, it still blows me away that this is your first attempt at doing a horror story, because you are doing very well for it. So, like it's really good. It's really incredible work. So, um, other than those notes, I got nothing. I think you're knocking it out of the park. The body horror is delightful. Yeah. I'm kind of letting. I'm letting. I kind of want. I'll let them find. I'll let Ghostly figure out how intense because if you want it to like hit hard and go intense, I'm gonna be like you need to crank it way higher. But if you're kind of going for the vibe and kind of lingering in these sort of like more emotional, the bleakness, then because that's a tone that because they both are effective in different ways. If you want it to be more visceral and like gross out and body horror, you can lean into that. If you want it to be more cerebral and emotional, you can lean into that there too. You don't have to do both. So it's I'm kind of like letting. I kind of would want Ghostly to kind of find that. You're welcome. The body horror is delightful. I more so just want to make people skin crawl, like seeing spiders and feeling a twinge on your skin. If that's what you're going for, if you really want to make people skin crawl, then I'm going to say you're going to want to get much more disturbing and descriptive with your descriptions of what's going on biologically with her skin. And even in her mind, you can do it with her mind. But I'd say if you want people's skin to crawl, crank it up. Crank it way up. Like, now you're going to like a 6 in terms of intensity, and I'd say go to 11. Like, full Spinal Tap, crank it to 11. Thank you, Sensei. You like the eye. Ghostly edited that one. Oh yeah, no, this is the picture. The picture is fucking incredible. And you edit, I like that a lot. And give it a nice little pale blue. I like that. Let's see here. You like that? Yeah, the eye is great, and that's a really good edit. I'm assuming you did color. The desaturated skin is fantastic. Almost like she had a really good mentor. Oh, you're fine. You're fine. You did this shit yourself. Don't know where she gets it from, man. It does great. Yeah. I'm so proud of you, Ghostly. The story is so delightfully unsettling. It's such a strong early draft. It's a very strong early draft for sure. Look, it's a slow burn. The midpoint goes crazy. You got to put them in a false sense of security. I didn't change the color. Oh, nice. Oh, interesting. I just made the skin black and white. Oh, that's what. Okay. Yeah, you desaturated the skin. Yeah, you went black and white. Cool. Very cool. All right, we have like 13 minutes left on the clock. But yeah, I mean, for a first draft, Ghostly, this is a very strong outing for a first draft. It's definitely in that. This is the kind of stuff you would read with people going through their third, fourth, fifth passes. In my opinion, I wanted to physically put myself into it. Yep. I mean, go slow burn. Definitely go slow burn. But even with a slow burn, if you want people's skin to crawl, if that's like even with that kind of you're gonna have to you gotta like really paint that picture in a way that like really gets under people's skin. I don't give compliments for compliments. I agree with that 100%. Yeah, I thought it was poetic to have my eye on my own work. Oh, is that your eye, Ghostly? Hell yeah, badass. Yeah, I mean that is poetic. That hell yeah, it's cool. So you did a black. Oh, that's cool. You did like a black and white picture of the eye. That's Saluting that. That's saluting that. Put literally putting yourself in your art. Good choice. I approve of this artistic choice. It's very cool. And then going like black and white and like kind of coloring this is I dig that. That's cool. It is interesting you gave Maximo brown eyes, but I guess that makes sense because of the brown beard, just to give him the full like woodland vibe. But yeah, yeah. He's just pure woods, pure woods, pure wood, a woodsman. But I will say, Ghostly, it's very flattering that you have decided to use your Deer Streamer Wildlight, into uh, into into your story as a strange woodland creature with a pet raccoon. It fits. It magically fits. Don't you have brown eyes, Wildlight? I do not. My eyes are not brown. Shockingly, they are not brown. They are gray blue. That's my dear sensei. Put some fucking respect on it. Thank you. That's good. That's good. Yeah. Ghostly about to use Zoom funky. Yeah, new purpose. It'll probably. It always depends on the lighting and stuff like that. But yeah, unless they've changed and I just never noticed it. But yeah, yeah. Everybody in my family had the bright blue eyes. Mine went more gray, but they're still pretty blue. All right, I'm gonna go off mic while we finish the sprint, the last 10 minutes of the sprint. But Ghostly, as always, fantastic work. It is an utter delight to get to read just to see you really like push your own limits, but really succeed at doing it and making, you're really good. You are a very good writer, and you put a lot of work into it, and it shows. Um, and yeah, it definitely, if anything, proof that you are, you're as smart and talented as they come. It's fantastic work. All right, I'm going off mic. I'm gonna treat my voice, and we will reconvene in 10 minutes. So till then, happy writing, happy working for 10 minutes, folks. All right, everybody. That is the end of that sprint. And hopefully everybody got loads of work done in that 10 minutes. I actually did. All right. Sorry, it's not too bad. But that is going to be the end of stream today. I do have to run. This is your self-insert Muppet. Nubino as a character is like in Dreaming in Vertigo. That is 100% was the closest I've probably ever come to writing a character self-insert of what I am, a character of what I imagine myself from very specifically 18 to 25. The kind of like spaz weirdo that I was. Yeah, that's about as close as it comes. That is definitely about as close. That is definitely like, was definitely, yeah, that was definitely my quote unquote self-insert, which is funny because a lot of my friends who read that script from high school were like, oh my God, it's just, that's you. It's just what you were like. And I was like, oh yeah, that's fair. So yeah, so I was like, well, if I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna make it the kind of Muppet I would make it, you know, a bastardized monstrosity of a hyper consumerist thing. But so I have to mix it with things that I'm interested in, but also things that would actually probably sell as like a cute, kawaii, cute, marketable thing that makes sense for the world, the like cyberpunk world. Thank you again, Sensei. Good. I'm glad. I really hope you do. I hope you feel better, Ghostly. I really do. I hope if you're not feeling better, you go raise a goddamn shitstorm with those doctors and don't put your foot down until they fucking do something to help you, because Jesus. I'm going to reread this in a whole new light. Oh yeah, God, the youth curmudgeon Muppet. Yeah, a little bit. But in the meantime, hang in there, everybody. Be kind to yourselves, be kind to others. Love you all. Take care of yourselves. Ghostly, please feel better. And Cryptid, everybody, enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the rest of the holiday weekend. And we'll catch you all next week. Yeah, bring a shiv. Bring a shiv and that theater kid energy. But take care of yourself, all right?